Okay, looks like I'm live. All right, how's it going, guys? Do some reacting today, and we'll start with our good friends Mel and Steve, because why not? Let me put that in the chat. Hang on. I'm a little behind on Mel and Steve videos. I looked and I saw there were 4. We'll just probably do this most recent one that was posted earlier today. 3 questions about dairy you probably never thought of. Let's see.
We can just do a couple minutes if you like. You can both perch on there if you like. Did you want to be involved as well? You left him to it. So, thank you for sitting down. My name's Melissa. What's your name?
My name is Tino.
So you saw the sign, and then I heard you say.
I've never heard that before. Like I never knew. Like, how do they kill babies?
Okay, I'm going to ask you 3 questions to start with.
Yeah.
When you think of the dairy industry, what comes into your mind?
Milk.
Milk?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Milk, cheese, like all the dairy cows.
Yeah, and what kind of things, like, if a farmer said, oh, I'm a dairy farmer, what would you expect to see?
Like a farm full of cows, like that's to sell milk, cheese, and all the dairy products.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I was thinking you might say green grass.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I didn't even think about that.
Things like that.
Yeah,
like adverts. So my next question is, do you think dairy is a natural product for humans?
It depends.
What up, boss man? I'll sit up straight. Since the boss is here, you're first. You're first. You know, the boss should be first. It's not a good look when the employees arrive before the boss. That's poor leadership.
Because a lot of people are lactose intolerant, aren't they? So
interesting thing to say.
I could go without milk, to be honest, but like it's just then it's something you never think about.
It's very true, and that's why we're here today. Because why do cows produce milk?
For the calves?
Yeah. Yeah, 100% for their calves.
Yeah.
So, why do you think humans are drinking cow's milk that's intended for their calves when we're human?
Guys, if I keep doing this, I have this weird ear infection, internal thing, and so it's very jarring, all the sounds on my right side. I'm getting used to it. There's nothing I can do about it. I already had somebody look in there. But anyway, if I keep doing that, it's not because of the activists. It's because I'm just dealing with that.
It's a good question. It's something I never thought about, to be honest, but like, I was just born here, milk was there, I was breastfed, the milk was in the shops, and
I'm exactly the same. I'm exactly the same.
Something I never thought about, really.
So what do you think has happened? Because we don't drink dog milk, and we don't drink other animals' milk, do we? Like lion milk or tiger milk.
Yeah.
Why do you think we drink cow's milk when we're not a baby cow?
That's a good question. That is strange.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the reason I asked you the first question about what, if I said the dairy industry, what would you think of, is because when I used to pay for cow's milk, I would see green grass, farmers saying they love their animals, and I didn't actually know a cow produces milk for her baby. I thought cows just produce milk.
Just was.
Yeah, so it's only when you thought about it, you're like, for their calves. Like, So do you know what actually happens for that milk to get to your fridge?
To be honest, no. All I know is like when I was young, when I used to go to my grandparents, their cows.
You went to nursery?
To my grandparents' house in the country. They'll just milk the cows. They will just drink it straight like that.
Yeah.
But for us to get in the shops, like I don't know like the whole process. I know they take a lot of things out, but I'm not sure how the process goes.
Yeah. So they do that. But what I'm talking about is what happens to the cows. Can I show you something?
Yeah, go on.
So Can you hold that a second? I trust you that you won't run away. Some people, I'm like, I'm not giving you the mic. Okay, so in the dairy industry, the only reason they produce milk is for their baby. You're right?
Yeah.
So next, what happens? Before that, they forcibly impregnate the cows.
Oh yeah.
So I would call this. What would you?
Yeah, that's.
Watch Dominion. That is the message.
That's not on.
Yeah, so they're putting the bull semen into the cow right now.
Yeah.
When she gives birth to her baby.
Tell them about Dominion, Mary. Tell them the power of Dominion.
If her baby's a boy, they're taking him away. Do you know why they do that?
Because the boy doesn't.
Keep the mic to you, yeah.
Because the boy doesn't produce milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the industry class him as a waste product.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he is not profitable to the industry.
So they just go and kill him off.
He's on the way to the slaughterhouse, right?
Oh wow.
Their mother runs behind because mother cows are very maternal.
Yeah.
That's her baby. Like, can you imagine how heartbreaking that would be? Like, seeing someone take your baby away. Wow. So they're in the truck there.
This guy's nice so far.
I'm just going to fast forward it so you can see. So this is now where they're at a lairage in a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
They're waiting now to be sent to the kill floor. So they're hitting them along.
Mary, what was it about Dominion that really got to you? Was there like a specific moment or something where you were like, nope.
And this is undercover footage.
Oh wow.
And then, sorry, I missed that bit.
Oh my days.
Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I asked that kind of knowing it's the whole thing. I know that. But, it doesn't take long. It's like 3 minutes in, you're like, okay. No.
Yeah.
To force them onto this. Bolt gunning them in the head.
Just don't care.
Hanging them up.
Wow.
Look at the fear in his eyes.
How they doing?
So this is legal standard practice, the best of the best. Electric prongs for bolt to
Wow. That's not good.
How does this make you feel when you see that?
Yeah, I don't want to watch that.
Horrible, right?
Nah,
Let me show this part.
Man.
I've watched Dominion now so many times because I've showed it to people, and I mean, I get chills just with the opening segment. Even that is such a powerful opener. The Dominion film. If people don't know what we're talking about, let me just link to it. We should do that more often, to be honest. It's on YouTube. Wow. Mary chose to celebrate her birthday by changing her life and watching something that made her cry.
So even after all that, still moving, as their necks getting cut, and then they hang them up.
So what do they do them after they keep them? They just throw them away, or
or for veal.
Like set them off, basically.
Yeah. So that's one part. So that's what happens to the males. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I don't like that.
You don't like that? I don't like that either. It broke my heart.
I don't want to watch things like that.
Don't watch anymore. So that's what happens to the males.
Yeah.
If she gives birth to a female, she gets taken away and put into a booth on her own, away from the mum.
Oh.
Because the farmer won't allow them to stay with the mum because they want to sell their milk to humans. So they got to remove the babies to take that milk from them. When the female is sexually mature enough, they'll do that process what you just saw to her. That happens over and over.
So just get the milk, kill off the boys, and if you have a girl, just keep milking it.
Milking them, taking their baby, all that trauma happening to them. When the mother goes through the cycle around 5 times on average in the UK, she gets to a point where she's so exhausted, and because her body's been so used, she can't stand up anymore. And at that point, when she's no longer profitable to the farmer, what do they do with her?
Just kill her off.
They kill her in a slaughterhouse. And that was actually the point that changed everything for me, because I never knew this happened, and I was so angry when I saw that. I was heartbroken. Myself and my husband absolutely broke. We cried in our front room. We cried and cried and cried, and I was like, I can never pay for that. Do you think, now that you've seen that, is there any justification to ever pay for that ever again?
No. Someone's killing the piano in the background.
No.
Y'all hear? Oh, sorry to divert.
And I was like, I can never pay for that. Do you think, now that you've seen that, is there any justification to ever pay for that ever again? No.
Because I don't even drink milk like that.
So it'd be very
easy. You can go without milk.
Oh, it's right there.
You're absolutely right. Now, the reason we've done this sign is to draw people in for a chat. I'm not here to argue with people. I'm just trying to pull the compassion out of people and educate, because I didn't know, and I felt like I was angry that I didn't know.
Because I don't think the average person knows, like, you just go Tesco and just buy your milk and you go home. That's it, make a cup of tea, but you don't know like the whole process.
Yeah, it's so easy for us to think it's an innocent thing. But, the behind it is horrible. And the only reason these industries continue, do you know why?
Money, innit?
Money, yeah. So, and who's funding them?
Governments.
We are.
They know that everything there.
Yeah, so I've touched on the dairy industry, but I'm actually a vegan and I'm an animal rights activist.
Oh yeah.
And I'm vegan because I saw the dairy industry.
Oh yeah.
I then saw what happened in the egg industry, pork industry, beef industry.
It's kind of all the same, isn't it?
It is. In the egg industry, do you know what they do to male chicks?
I'm guessing chicken nuggets, kill them off again.
They blend them. They blend them up alive.
Oh.
Do you want to see?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I want to see that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too upsetting now. I want to see those videos.
Horrible.
But I can imagine,
Yeah, you sound like you've got a very compassionate heart.
Yeah, I hate seeing those type of videos.
Yeah. I really like that you're like that, because a lot of people will sometimes just say to me, oh, plants feel pain and avocados and all this kind of stuff. But you're really honest, and I really appreciate that, because we're only here to have honest conversations.
Yeah, of course.
Now, when I say I'm vegan, I've actually always been like vegan in my heart, but when I was younger, up to the age of 26, I used to not be vegan.
Oh yeah.
In my actions.
Roger Yates, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Watching some Mel and Steve. Got some stuff queued up as well. Yeah, the music they are quite good. They're playing crowd pleasers. They're very good. They're very good. They're kind of rushing through it. If I may be a critic myself, but they're extremely good. They're just not really putting a lot of passion and feeling into it. That's what I'm saying. Put the passion in the music. Don't just rush through. But they are very good. Better than me.
So I used to pay for meat, eggs, dairy, leather. Because I didn't ever see inside of a slaughterhouse. I didn't understand what happened.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I changed. You've seen a snippet. Now, do you think there's any justification to ever use and commodify animals and send them to slaughterhouses for us if we don't need to?
Nah, if you don't know, there's no need for that. It's just like, why do that? Like, I'm like, that video, like, it's crazy. Like, why? Just let them roam and be free, and like, what's the point of killing them?
Yeah, it's all just, they're all about profit. So the farming industries is a business, right? So if they, because they see animals as a product, if they have a product like the male cow who doesn't produce milk, they're just going to go in the bin, don't need you, or try and get money from veal or something. Or but even if they let them live and they had a bit of a life, is it still okay to kill them and eat them? Nah. Okay, so now here's a question. Do you currently pay into that industry? And I'm not judging because I paid into it too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Now that you've seen that, do you think you could ever pay into that industry again?
It's something I'm gonna ever think about, like a long think about, to be honest. Because I didn't know any of this. Like, all I know is just go to the shop and just buy whatever. But like after this, like it's something to think about.
Yeah. Can I tell you about pigs? What happens to pigs?
Yeah, I only pork.
And chickens? Okay, chickens?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
So in the chicken industry, how old do you think those meat chickens are? They're called broiler hens. How old do you think they are when they go to a slaughterhouse?
I'm guessing a few weeks.
Yeah, so they're 42 days old.
Oh, wow.
So they have been genetically modified to grow so large that their legs break underneath them. Myself and my husband are we go undercover inside farms in the UK when the farmers are like in bed and investigate and have a look, ask for ourselves. And the first ever farm I entered was a broiler hen chicken shed, and it's hard to talk about because I met this little chicken called Tiny, and she was the only chicken who wouldn't run away, and it's because she couldn't run away. She's just smaller than all the others, and her legs were like really fragile underneath her body, and she was limping towards me. And I just sat with her and she started chirping, and I realized she was asking me for something. She showed me, she went up to this water area. So in a farm, a water is like on these long lines. She couldn't reach the water.
Because of her legs.
She was jumping and trying, and she was showing me, and I felt so angry and heartbroken because this beautiful little chick with a little yellow head and a big body couldn't even have water.
She's so frail, she can't even drink water.
Yeah, because she couldn't reach. So I'm never ever going to stop fighting for them. I'm always going to tell people what happens because Tiny needed me.
I respect it.
You need to believe every word she says. Because I do. Every word she says.
I'm listening to her.
Everything.
And that's something I didn't know as well. I was vegan, right? When I saw inside of a slaughterhouse, but I didn't even know what happens in the farm. But even if the farm was good, this is my question to you. That's why I told you this story. Even if the
talked to already, maybe. I don't know.
Was a good place, which they're not.
It's clearly not a good place.
Do you still think, even if the animals had a good life, it's still okay to kill them?
No. After that, nah.
No. So you have a very...
My question is there too much to take in? Oh, I was talking about the music. My bad. I was talking about the pianist. Yeah. What's up, freedom fighter? Yeah, I was being a snob about the music. I used to be a street pianist myself, and people would always ask me to play these, they'd always ask me to play these certain pieces and stuff. I don't know. I have strong opinions. About them. Anyway, research suggests that stories are effective in outreach, so this is good. The question is your question. Is there too much to take in? For this particular one, I don't know. I think, like if you're watching a film like Dominion, which we know is effective, that's a lot to take in. It depends on the person, I'm sure. I think that Mel has calculated, I think rightfully so, that this guy's attentively listening, so might as well feed him, so to speak, as much information as he can take in, I suppose. I don't know. Good question.
Powerful decision right now.
Yeah, I need to make a decision right now.
You do? Because for the animals going to slaughter today, how quickly do they need people to change on the outside currently funding that industry? How quickly do they need do they need you to change?
Real quick. But it's gonna take a lot. Like not just for me, like just for everybody else. Like so, it's gonna be a journey.
It will be for everybody else. We want to fight, right? We're on the animal side, and currently the world is at war with the animals, and we're the animals warriors trying to defend them. We're standing in front of the animals saying, hey guys, you might be at war with the animals, but you don't understand what you're paying into. So we're trying to be the glass wall to show everybody, because the industry have put up this wall, right? If there's the industry here and there's us here, the general public, the industry have put up this wall of lies to show the public oh, we love our animals. Have you heard that before? Yeah. Green grass, cows need to be milked. Oh, but what we're doing as vegans, we're abolishing this wall down. We're making people see the actual industries. We're showing people the slaughterhouses. We're showing people the farms. And these farmers won't be allowed to lie anymore because at the moment they've lied to you. They've lied to me.
That's everybody.
And the consequence is the animals are the victims of this. So do you want to continue giving these people your money who do this to animals, or do you want to boycott them and never let them ever do this to animals on your behalf ever again?
Yeah. Nah, I understand it.
You want that?
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
And you touched on a point because you can change you today.
Yeah.
And that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. Because if you leave this table not vegan, you're going to have animals inside slaughterhouses for you personally, which I know breaks your heart. And it's the animals wouldn't like that too. You can leave here vegan and never send an animal to a slaughterhouse ever again.
Yeah.
And then you said about other people changing, it's going to be a journey, right? You can then stand on this side with the animals behind you, defending the animals. You can do stuff like this. You can share posts on social media and defend the animals.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Tell me your thoughts. I've spoken a lot.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, you give me something to think about. Like, definitely, I need to make a decision. Like, you're right.
You do.
Because it's something I don't think a lot of people don't think about. People just go about their day, do their thing, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't think about it. And like, people are very easily conditioned, and we might not think we are. But
we're too conditioned.
Yeah.
So conditioned, yeah.
When you think about it, right, when we grew up, I believed in Father Christmas. I believed a man come into my room and put presents there. Which is creepy as hell. But
breaking and entering.
Yeah. But I believed that because I had no reason to question it. Because I was told from people who I respected or the world, this is what happens. And same with the farming industry, they've told people this is what happens. So these people here are unknowingly paying into these industries that they're against themselves, but they've just been lied to. So we've got to remove that lie, show people the truth, because then animals will be...
He doesn't say much, but what he does say is very promising for this particular guy.
Saved, because most people are good people, would you agree?
Yeah, I'll try to agree, yeah.
Do you think if people saw what I just showed you, they wouldn't want to pay for that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people have seen that like that.
Exactly. We can show them, right?
That's a bit,
yeah,
definitely.
So my last question to you, because I know you sat down for a while, your friends waiting for you.
Yeah, I'm just about to go,
How many more animals from this moment on do you want to send to slaughter for you?
Nah, I don't want to do that.
Say it louder in the mic. Say it louder in the mic. Move the mic closer. To the camera.
I want to send no animals to the slaughter. No, that's like that video. Like it's crazy. Like I don't like watching things like that. It's heartbreaking. Sure, bit like.
Absolutely.
It's no good.
We can do something about it. We can change, and we can help other people see it, and we can help the animals.
Yeah, definitely.
I really enjoyed this conversation with you.
Did I?
I'm going to give you a card.
Oh yeah.
Because you can go away here and talk to your friend about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna show them the vicious.
Scan this QR code. It will take you to a website. I want you to watch something called Dominion. I think it's the one at the very top. It's about an hour long. Watch that, and you'll really know. I also think if you follow our YouTube channel, you can message us. So if you go on YouTube, because I think people are really going to like you on the channel as well. They're going to be like, he's awesome.
Yes, I do, Mel. I like him. I like him a lot. He's a nice guy.
So it's Mel and Steve. I've really enjoyed this conversation with you.
No, so did I. It was eye-opening.
Yeah, and I really actually think you're going to change. You're a really nice person.
Something to think about, definitely.
Yeah. And just remember the whole time we're thinking about it, if we keep paying for it, animals are going to slaughter.
Dying.
So it's immediate, yeah? And you can come and fight for the animals with us. Just remember how powerful you are as a person to make change. Thank you so much for this conversation. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you later. That was a really nice conversation. I really enjoyed talking to Tino there. He's the person that makes it all worthwhile coming out and setting up a debate table, setting up and speaking to people, because people really do change. When you see what happens in these industries, they do not like it. They do not like it. They're against it. But like he said, I've just never seen this before. He didn't know any better, and that's why he paid for it. Now that he knows, From his own words, he said he doesn't want any more animals going to slaughter for him, and he knows it's an immediate.
Yeah, I think so. I think he got it. I think he got it. All right, there's that video. You guys know what to do. I know all of you are sub to Mel and Steve, but do sub to Mel and Steve. They are on the ball, doing a lot. So I'm a fan. I'm a big Mel head and a Steve head. I'm a Mel Steve head. I don't know how to say that. Mel and Steve head, I guess. All right. Let's see. All right, I have two things pulled up that I want to watch. One is from our favorite channel lately. This one here, Archive of Animal Liberation Films on the Net, Facing South Animal Rights Militancy, 1985. Documentary looking at animal rights militancy, in particular, the Animal Rights Militia and the Southeast Animal Liberation League. Includes contributions from Ronnie Lee and John Beggs, as well as footage of the raid on the Royal College of Surgeons. Ronnie Lee, that's Roger Yates' buddy. And I would like to say my buddy as well, although we've only spoken once. But you know what? He was a nice guy, a very nice guy.
Brockenhurst in Hampshire. The balaclavas conceal young men in their late teens or early 20s. They want to end the use of animals.
Mel and Steve off the screen. Okay. There's Roger's comment. Pull that down. All right. Oh, and I haven't done a reaction stream since the Keith Mann one. I can't remember if that was before New Year's or after, but Happy New Year. It's 2026.
In laboratory experiments, and they intend to
It's the future.
use terrorist tactics to achieve their aims. This man told us that he has guns and explosives and that he's now prepared to use them. He said he would kill in the cause of animal liberation. This man says he's being forced to violence because peaceful methods have failed to stop animals being tortured in the laboratories. He too says he's prepared to kill in the cause of animal liberation. A terrifying prospect. What's more, the temptation to dismiss these threats as mere bravado has been dispelled by this week's attacks in the name of the Animal Rights Militia. They were the latest in a series of such attacks.
Important to distinguish between the Animal Liberation Front. Since we're going to hear from Ronnie Lee, this is a different group. The Animal Rights Militia has a different philosophy, obviously, whereas the ALF is completely nonviolent.
In which the targets have been scientists who work in animal research centres like this one in Carshalton, Surrey. Over the last 12 months, several people working here have already fallen victim to the Animal Rights Militia.
Should be interesting.
Last May, Dr. Sharat Ganguly and his wife were in bed at 1 o'clock in the morning when someone threw a Molotov cocktail at their garage door.
If the Molotov cocktail had exploded as it was intended, it would have set light to the garage door, which was of wood, and right beside the house was another car parked, and obviously the conflagration would have set fire to the garage door and the contents of the house, and also set fire to the car next door, which could have triggered off a whole series of fires along the road.
Professor David Conning, who also once worked at the Carshalton laboratory, was another scientist singled out for attack by the Animal Rights Militia. In May of last year, 2 Molotov cocktails were thrown into the driveway of his wife's house.
Professor, what do you think would have happened if these incendiary devices had gone off?
Well, I think the intention was to set my wife's car on fire, and had that happened, then there would have been very considerable damage. It was in a fairly confined space close to the house. Had the petrol tank exploded, there would have been, well, untold damage to the house.
What was your wife's reaction to the incident?
Well, she was naturally very frightened, in fact, terrified. She was alone in the house with the children. I don't live there, as you know. And in those circumstances, one can understand that she was petrified.
Here in London, at Scotland Yard, a national team of senior police officers has been formed to monitor the growing menace presented to the public by attacks of this type. In charge of the operation is Deputy Assistant Commissioner Wyn Jones. He feels the public should understand the real threat he believes they now face.
They must realise the extreme actions to which certain of these people are prepared to go, the lengths to which they're prepared to go to secure their objectives. And I think the prospect of increased personal violence is something that in 1986 we may well be seeing. I think the end result can only be that they will inflict grievous harm on individual members of the public, if not kill somebody.
It's a grim thought with which to start the new year. But the more we've delved into the activities of the animal rights movement here in the South, the more evidence we've unearthed of a steady escalation in the use of violence by some militant groups. In the
You know, keeping in mind, wait, when? No, 2015. It's definitely way older than that. Oh, that's when it was posted, obviously. You know, I don't know. Oh, 1985. 1985. Okay, I don't have the timeline perfect, but I'm sure there's more than 3, but we know at least 3 animal rights activists who were killed. I don't know of any examples of these people. Even being injured. They keep bringing up this one incident in our videos, but it seems to lack details where someone got injured. But we know of, 3 activists who died or were killed. Barry Horn, Jill Phipps. What was I going to say? Yeah, so I mean, the activists, the violence seems to come from one side, and of course, there's all the animals that they're glossing over, of course, right now during this video. The billions, I guess if we're talking about vivisectors at this point, then I don't know, billions? I don't know. Billions of animals killed. Definitely hundreds of millions killed in labs every year.
Twilight world of the animal extremists, passions are running high. And regrettably, it seems only too possible that deliberate killing could be the next step. The thought of killing humans for the sake of animals would have been an anathema to the early supporters of animal rights. They contented themselves with such activities as sabotaging fox hunting, deemed by them to be a cruel sport. But even in the 60s, the issue had the capacity to spark off deeply felt passions not normally associated with the phlegmatic British character. But while in the 60s, blood sports received most attention from animal rights demonstrators, increasingly over the years, their concern came to focus on the little publicized experiments that were being conducted on animals in the name of science. In Britain, there are some 500 centres of animal experimentation. Many of them are in the south. They include Porton Down in Wiltshire, where activists allege that animals are still being used to test the effectiveness of germs.
That's a weird map. I was like, what are these places in the ocean? They're testing on animals out there in the sea. No, that's the land. That's a weird color scheme for your map, okay? Weird. Fix your map.
And warfare. The Wickham laboratories in Hampshire and the Bibler laboratories in Carshalton, Surrey, where animals are used to test industrial products.
Show.
Other laboratories include the Royal College of Surgeons Research Centre near the village of Down in Kent, the Bracades Laboratory at Braintree in Essex, which uses animals to test vaccines. The vast majority of these experiments are carried out on small rodents. In 1984, more than 3 million such animals were kept for this purpose. Professor Tim Biscoe supervises hundreds of experiments each year. So seriously regarded are the threats of the extremists that we were asked not to say where Professor Biscoe works. However, like other scientists in this field, he maintains that any suffering caused to the animals is far outweighed by the benefits to society.
In the last 30, 40 years, we've eliminated smallpox worldwide. We have poliomyelitis vaccine, so it is now no longer a problem in schools for young people growing up.
Oh, another thing, I've mentioned a few times before, but one of my favorite books about all this stuff is Operation Bite Back, about Rod Coronado in America. And during that story, and I feel ashamed that I'm going to blank on the names of the environmental activists who were bombed in their cars. And I believe, and I don't want to commit slander or anything, but I believe it was that, I think the story came out that the feds tried to paint them as like they had a bomb when it was quite clearly planted on their vehicle instead, and they were almost killed. They somehow survived, but were badly maimed, obviously. Sorry, I'm forgetting those names.
We have all the advances of modern surgery, which would have been quite impossible without animal experiments. And
then someone was arrested for planting a bomb. It was this impressionable woman, apparently, who was goaded into it by an undercover agent. Yeah.
Testing of materials. Here is, for example, a cardiac pacemaker, which is made as a consequence of advances in electronics and materials science and in biology.
Brian?
Quite impossible to manufacture this kind of thing 30, 40 years ago without animal experiments.
But despite such arguments, throughout the 70s, there was a steady growth in public disquiet about much that went on in the name of research behind the closed doors of the laboratory. The work of scientists in the animal laboratories was governed by guidelines laid down by an Act of Parliament, the Cruelty to Animals Act, drawn up as long ago.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine then. The government's on it.
As 1876. Since then, the type of work carried out has changed, and the numbers of animals used in experiments has increased dramatically. It's a measure of the strength of public opinion in favor of giving animals better protection that in 1979, major parties pledged themselves to reform the 1876 Act. Finally, last year, after 3 years' deliberation, new proposals to protect laboratory animals were at last finalized. The 1985 White Paper has become the basis of a new law about to go before Parliament next month. The main effect of the new law will be to oblige scientists to justify to the Home Office any experiments that they propose to carry out on animals.
They've got to show, first of all, that the thing that they're looking out for, what they want to find out, is really necessary. Then they've got to show that there is no way of doing that other than using animals. And then they've got to show that the way in which the experimental project is designed is one compatible with the best standards and that they're using the right sort of animal, because we obviously recognize that there are some animals, because of their particular relationship with man, like cats and dogs, which should only be used very occasionally. And while one obviously wants to be careful about the use of rats and mice as well, not quite the same considerations obviously apply as to cats and dogs.
But despite these new safeguards, the new law has run into a barrage of angry criticism. A major objection is that it will not ban some controversial tests, such as the Dre's eye test, which involves putting new chemical products into the eyes of animals to test for possible adverse effects on humans.
Yeah. Because it's really hard to figure out whether putting chemicals in your eye is painful. Dumbasses. Dude, putting water in your eye can be painful, you idiots.
Neither does it ban tests carried out to establish the safety of cosmetics. Nevertheless, the Home Office claims that it has the support of most moderate animal rights groups. But the bill won't satisfy the more radical groups who want all experiments to end.
I don't think it will appease the extremists because, you see, by their very nature, they are not appeasable, or rather, the only way in which they are appeasable is to do something which would rightly earn one the contempt of the rest of the community, because the rest of the community wants animal experiments to continue. If that is the price that has to be paid to conquer cancer and Parkinson's disease and all those many things that we don't know the answer to at the moment. Whereas the extremists are extreme because they say, end animal experiments overnight. So, no, we won't appease them, and it's a pointless.
So how come you're not the extremist by saying, no, we're going to kill millions and millions of animals for these hopes that we'll find cures for things? Yeah. I can't help but notice, let me back up.
To conquer cancer and Parkinson's disease and all that.
I can't help but notice you haven't conquered cancer or Parkinson's disease.
There's many things that we don't know the answer to at the moment. Whereas the extremists are extreme because they say, end animal experiments overnight. So, no, we won't appease them, and it's a pointless task trying to do so.
But however justifiable the government's position seems to be, it's the dissatisfaction among the uncompromising supporters of animal rights that seems set to fuel the threatening new militancy of 1986. In the South, the campaign will be built on strong foundations. There's already been a wave of attacks across the region. Groups of masked men and women have openly defied the law and broken into factory farms or other establishments considered by them to be guilty of oppressing animals. Responsibility for many of these attacks has been claimed.
Very quiet, Mary. Very quiet in here.
By a group calling itself the Animal Liberation Front. Many have already been a wave of South. The campaign will be built on strong foundations. There's already been a wave of attacks across the region. Groups of masked men and women have openly defied the law and broken into factory farms or other establishments considered by them to be guilty of oppressing animals. Responsibility for many of these attacks has been claimed by a group calling itself the Animal Liberation Front, the ALF for short. In the last 12 months, it's claimed more than 30 serious attacks on selected targets across the South, culminating in a firebomb attack on a fleet of butchers' lorries in Dorset just before Christmas. The ALF...
Quick question. Were there anybody in those vehicles? Was there anybody in them? Because that's what your documentary started about, right? Violence.
Claims to have 2,000 members nationally. Its official spokesman is Ronnie Lee, a former hunt saboteur who served 2 spells in jail for attacks on research establishments. He's unrepentant about the organization's illegal activities.
Peaceful protest had been given 100 years opportunity to change things. People have been protesting against the various forms of cruelty to animals for well over 100 years. And that protest, because of the vested interest ranged against it, had achieved so very little that I think people felt driven to do something more direct. If people don't do that, it means that the animals are going to carry on suffering, and I would rather see damage done to property than suffering caused to a sentient creature.
The ALF claims to be non-violent, but its activities have sometimes caused considerable personal distress. Take the case of Home Office Minister David Mellor, who's...
Okay. Is causing distress violence? What is your definition of violence, sir?
House was subject to an attack in 1984.
Yeah. The time when my house was attacked and red paint was thrown all over it. I mean, my wife was pregnant, and it's not the most pleasant thing to come down to in the morning. And I think it's unnecessary. I mean, why should
his wife was pregnant, guys.
One like me be subjected to this sort of treatment just because I'm trying to...
The question you should be asking is, why should the animal be subjected to the treatment? Just because humans are suffering from human-caused illnesses And some natural illnesses, sure, but a lot of our illnesses, let's face it, are being caused by our own actions. And then we make animals suffer for the stuff that we do. So I think you have the wrong question that you're asking. Another guy in his
hold the ring. I hear I was attacked and red paint was thrown all over it. I mean, my wife was pregnant, and you know, it's not the most pleasant thing to come down to in the morning. And I think
that Dre's test that we were looking at earlier, I don't think it's very pleasant for those animals to have chemicals put in their eyeballs.
it's unnecessary. I mean, why should someone like me be subjected to this sort of treatment just because I'm trying to hold the ring? I hear the doctors on the one side saying what they need to do to cure cancer. I hear the animal lobby on the other side saying what is needed to be done to protect animals. I'm just trying to do what I think any common sense person would want to do, to strike a fair balance between the two. But, you know, because I'm not in the camp.
A fair balance. Okay. Okay. So put humans in the context of the animals and then ask the same question, like, or make the same comment. I'm just trying to strike a fair balance here. You know, on the one hand, we have humans having pain inflicted upon them for the benefit of some other group, I'm blanking on words right now. Can't think, guys. I can't think. Whatever. Yeah, just, never mind. I'll give up on that.
And for the extremists, my family has got to suffer for that.
As far as the ILF is concerned, our targets are property. Our aim is to cause economic sabotage and to rescue animals. But in more general terms, what I'm saying is that as far as I'm personally concerned, if I heard about an animal abuser being injured, then I wouldn't have any sympathy for them, because my sympathies lie with the animals that they are abusing, because after all, the animals are innocent and the animal abusers aren't.
Imbued with this kind of moral certainty, the Animal Liberation Front clearly poses a threat for those individuals unfortunate enough to get in its way. However, for the vast majority of people, the ALF represents little more than a public nuisance. Far more worrying for the police has been the emergence of a second militant organisation. This one specially set up to provide the sort of coordination and meticulous planning that the ALF so often lacks. This body, calling itself the Southeast Animal Liberation League, or SEAL for short, was established 2 years ago, and it has already shown itself capable of much more ambitious raids. SEAL claims it can draw on support as and when it's needed, and often from surprising quarters. Its spokesman is John Beggs.
We've got everyone from students to old age pensioners, professional people, unemployed people, lorry drivers, ex-butchers, ex-police officers even. So we've got a complete cross-section of society, which is what we seek, we sought to do in the first place.
Are you serious when you say you have ex-police officers?
We have actually got one ex-police officer, in fact, who's always takes the police by surprise when they arrest him.
The incident which proves SEAL as
a shocking
force to be reckoned with was a large-scale raid on the laboratories of the Royal College of Surgeons at Down in Kent. Before the raid in August 1984, SEAL members spent 4 months working on the details. Nothing seems to have been overlooked. One team was sent out to time the journey between the local police station and the laboratory. This told them how long they could safely remain in the building after the alarm went off. On the day of the raid itself, some 36 people, detailed to break into the building with sledgehammers and wire cutters, were divided into teams, each to perform its own particular task. About 24 people were deployed outside, some as lookouts, others to make fake phone calls to the police. The idea was to lure any patrol cars that may have been around away from the area. One call suggested a white girl was being raped by 3 black youths. Another reported a major crash that needed urgent police attention.
I'd like to report an accident. Yeah, in Bromley.
The strategy seems to have worked. But the raiders, who recorded the break-in on video, were able to spend several minutes inside the building. The scale of this operation was greater than anything the ALF had ever attempted. Its purpose showed that SEAL had an intelligent and dedicated leadership. Although some damage was done, SEAL was greater than anything the ALF had ever attempted. And its purpose showed that SEAL had an intelligent and dedicated leadership. Although some damage was done, the chief aim was to gather evidence that could prove animals were being mistreated in the laboratory. As the raiders made their getaway in a fleet of waiting cars, some driven, it's claimed, by old-age pensioners, they carried off a pile of laboratory records stolen from filing cabinets.
I love the reconstructions.
No one was ever caught. From their point of view, the raid on the Royal College was SEAL's finest hour. Firstly, it proved that they could carry out a major raid and get away with it. Secondly, it showed...
What's up, Tess? What's up, Spooky?
They know how to handle the media. Their video of the attack on the Royal College was the main story on that night's news at 10. And thirdly, it showed that as well as breaking the law, they know how to manipulate it. But as a result of information obtained by SEAL members on that raid, the Royal College was, for the first time in its history, prosecuted for causing unnecessary suffering to an animal. The Royal College of Surgeons has since appealed.
If the police would do our work for us, which they should be doing, and investigating our complaints and our allegations, then we wouldn't bother raiding laboratories. The reason we do it is, as I've said, the police don't do anything. They totally support the status quo and guard vivisectors. Secondly, we know there are things going on, one, that are morally obscene, and two, that are legally invalid.
SEAL may only have been looking for evidence, but the large-scale, sophisticated raids it organises inevitably carry with them an increased risk of people actually being hurt. Following on the RCS raid, SEAL next mounted an attack on the Wickham laboratories 10 miles east of Southampton. Once again, it bore all the hallmarks of a paramilitary operation, as activists used bolt cutters, sledgehammers and pickaxe handles to smash their way in and steal documents. This time they met resistance. In separate incidents, not recorded on their video cameras, 4 people were physically assaulted, 2 badly enough to require medical treatment.
How do you justify, A, breaking the law, and in some cases, causing innocent people injury, no matter what the cause?
Well, dealing with the second point first, I don't believe SEAL has ever caused innocent people any injury. We are strictly non-violent, and that's why SEAL has been and always will be.
People have been injured during these raids?
I would dispute that, actually. I think, I don't know which raid you're referring to.
Yeah.
There certainly may have been scuffles, but any violence is normally against us.
Yeah, it's like little scuffle like happens where typically the activists are getting attacked and, oh, you hurt my finger. A little more context and details would be nice in this documentary.
Unfortunately, people tend to disregard that violence. Regarding justification of breaking the law, there's 2 kinds of law.
He said 2 were badly injured enough that they required medical attention. Well, you know, if you are involved in a scuffle and a police asks you, do you need medical attention? You can just say yes, and then you get medical attention. You can get medical attention for a runny nose.
There's the law of the land, which is man-made, and there's the moral law, or God's law. So Martin Luther King saw that distinction, and basically it's a question of conscience.
But the police have to enforce the law of the land. Since last February, specially appointed officers throughout the South have been engaged on a major intelligence gathering operation. By pooling this information, they've compiled a massive dossier on the extremists. And only last week, a special unit was set up to combat what the police perceive as a rising spiral of violence.
Rising spiral of violence. Show us the bodies. Let's see the bodies. You know, it may have been a better use of their time to be combating the actual violent people. You know, people actually killing people or killing animals. But, you know.
Many of the groups, the animal
their purpose is not to combat violence.
Liberation League,
a special unit was set up to combat what the police perceive as a rising spiral of violence.
Very many of the groups, the Animal Liberation League, the Animal Liberation Front, as it calls itself, have upped the ante, if you like. They have increased the level of protest from passive demonstration at various sites to releasing animals into the wild and creating environmental havoc as a result, to attacks on premises, culminating, of course, in vicious,
yes, it's definitely the ALF that causes environmental havoc. Yeah.
Warranted and totally unjustifiable personal attacks on members of the public, politicians, scientists, etc. And I have no doubt that if they increase this level of activity, they will eventually result in killing somebody. And that is the cause and the extent, if you like.
So even in this documentary, they're talking about it'll eventually happen, but it hasn't happened.
Of the problem.
But to counter this threat to life is proving no easy task for the police. It appears that people who break the law in this way stand a very good chance of escaping prosecution. 120 people took part in the raids on Wickham. Only 19 people were eventually brought to trial here at Winchester Crown Court last September. During the course of the trial, most of the charges were dropped due to lack of evidence. And in the end, just 7 were found guilty of conspiracy to burgle. Among them, Michael Nunn, a former butcher from Bexhill-on-Sea, who admitted in court to being Seal's convener. He got 3 years. It was the biggest being
hear that
Seal.
again?
Michael Nunn, a former butcher from
a former butcher.
Bexhill-on-Sea, who admitted in court to being Seal's convener. He got 3 years.
You might know something.
It was the biggest animal rights trial in history, and Seal regarded it as a cause for celebration.
I think the trial was a resounding success. It was obviously very unfortunate that 7 people were found guilty of just one of the counts in the indictment. But if you view the fact that there were 78 counts, potential verdicts on this indictment, and our members got off 71, we really won hands down. And far from being a setback, it's obviously a personal setback to those individuals who have the trauma and the stress of prison. But all it will do is strengthen the resolve of animal rights activists in the South East and the rest of the country. We won't be intimidated by the police. We won't be intimidated by courts.
Mindful of such threats, some laboratories and other prime targets have taken matters into their own hands and introduced security measures such as strong perimeter fencing. For as they know only too well, the police can offer only limited help.
The police service cannot provide static police officers to protect every possible target of these extremist groups. But I'm sure that all those responsible individuals who own such premises are well aware of the possible threat against their establishment. And whilst we will do all we can within our power to assist them, I think at the end of the day, regrettably, perhaps it comes down to a level of self-protection.
While organisations can indeed take steps to protect their premises, individuals remain vulnerable. If the extremists are to be believed, then the attacks on people like Dr. Conning...
Oh, I thought you meant the animals.
Today, regrettably, perhaps it comes down to a level of self-protection.
While organisations can indeed take steps to protect their premises, individuals remain vulnerable.
Those animals remain vulnerable. Yes, they do.
If the extremists are to be believed, then the attacks on people like Dr. Conning and Dr. Gangoli will, in 1986, reach an alarming new level. John Beggs certainly believes there are elements in the animal rights movement who'll go down that road. We asked him if this might mean a loss of life.
I don't know at this stage whether that would happen, but I agree. I think people will start to take violent action against scientists. I think the problem is when we talk about violence, we forget about the violence being perpetrated to the animals. We forget about making beagles vomit, blinding rabbits' eyes, shooting monkeys. That kind of violence is really what we should be talking about. And frankly, I wouldn't have a great deal of sympathy if a scientist was attacked, because although it may be morally wrong, it's really just he lives by the sword, and one can almost say he's bound to die by the sword, in a sense.
There's no evidence that either John Beggs or members of SEAL have ever planned to attack individuals. But others, namely the extremist animal rights militia, not only consider such action morally justified, they also appear to have both the will and the wherewithal to carry it out. And when we met these men in the New Forest before Christmas, they claimed to have armed themselves with all the devices of modern terrorism. They said they had remote control detonators, mercury tilt detonators, and sophisticated timing devices. We asked them how could they possibly justify taking a human life for any cause. Their reply was chilling and simple. The death of a human was worth it if it stopped the suffering of millions of animals.
Show us the bodies. Show us the bodies. I've yet to see them.
Animals above those of humans must surely strike most people as horrifying. But given that these young people have these views, given their fanaticism, we have to face the grim prospect that this week's attacks won't be the last. So what can the authorities do? That's what we'll be asking Mr. Peter.
No, like, you know, maybe one thing that the authorities could do is put on balaclavas, go out in the woods and say you're about to kill people. You know, that would be something that law enforcement could easily do, you know? Do you think of that?
Westcott, the Assistant Chief Constable of Sussex, in part 2. Join us in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to this, the first edition of Facing South. In part 1 of the programme, we heard the deeply worrying claim by members of the animal rights militia that during 1986 they intend to murder people involved with experiments on animals. So assuming we should take these claims seriously, and the attacks this week suggest that we should, what can the authorities do? With me now is Mr. Peter Westcott, Assistant Chief Constable of Sussex, the county in which one of this week's devices was planted. Mr. Westcott, very good evening to you.
Good evening.
First of all, your own gut reaction to what you've just seen and heard.
Well, I think you've painted a picture this evening which shows a worrying...
I do think he's painted a picture this evening as well. It may not be an accurate picture, but a picture.
...trend in terms of the type of attack that we're now beginning to face. If we look at the incidents of this week, particularly the device recovered at Staining here in Sussex, that's the type of device which, had it been viable, and we still wait final analysis, could clearly have caused serious injury to someone. Now, it's all very well for people who say that they wish to kill what they might refer to as legitimate targets. But in this case, I mean, there could have been a small child walking past in the road. And is that seriously what these people are intending to do? And really, one can only start to ask people who form the membership of the wider groups, perhaps legitimate protest groups, reasonable people, is that really the sort of people that they wish to be associated with? And really one can only start to ask them to perhaps re-examine their position and say, well, we do really think that this is the type of activity we don't want to get involved with, and we really ought to come and perhaps give the police some assistance.
Could I just pick up a point you made?
Just going to remind people what I said earlier about that case where someone was arrested for planting a bomb. And it was the feds who encouraged and tricked this impressionable person into doing that. Wasn't their idea, wasn't something they wanted to do. It was the feds who did that. So, yeah.
There, you heard in the film the claim that they have sophisticated explosives. Are you saying that the events of this week confirm that?
No, I'm not saying that at all at the moment, because at the moment we still wait a final proper analysis of the devices that were recovered. My initial reaction is that they are not sophisticated devices that the people that we've seen this evening claim to have. And of course we can't really at this stage connect the people that have been on your program this evening with those that have obviously planted the devices.
But they could be capable of producing them, could they not? In view of what...
But we could connect them to the police.
They've said, and in view of what's happened this week.
People can produce sophisticated devices. I cannot, and I have no evidence or reason to believe that those people that you've interviewed in that would have that capability. They tell me, your program tells me that they have that capability, or they make the claims that they have that capability. I have no reason and no information to suggest that they have that capability.
How is your own investigation going, by the way? There were 4...
That, by the way, was an actually reasonable statement by that guy, to actually look at something and say, you know, I don't have the information that you're telling me.
4 devices planted this week, as we said, one of them in your patch.
In Sussex.
What progress are you making?
In Sussex, it's early days at the moment. The devices were recovered over the last 48 hours. Clearly, we're working with our colleagues in the rest of the country because the devices are recovered at approximately the same time. So we'd be very foolish if we didn't try and coordinate the police response. What I would ask is that those people or the viewers, your viewers, or anyone who might have some information, clearly to let the investigating officer at Shoreham Police know of any information they might think relevant, but also perhaps if they recognise, I appreciate they were disguised, the people that appeared on your programme, but if they think they know who they are, to let the police at Shoreham know.
I think we have a number which, before the end of the programme, we should be able to show to people, which they can ring if they do, in fact, feel they have that information.
I would be extremely grateful.
There it is, it's Shoreham. That's 07917 079.
There you go. There you go. Let's go ahead and give up who you work for.
917 4521. That's the number to ring if you have any information. Everyone, I think, watching this
Wait.
film
I thought you had the information. You're the one who met him.
Have been deeply disturbed by the sentiments expressed by these young people. But bearing in mind the nature of their attacks, the sporadic nature of them, the spontaneous nature of them, we'll be asking, how on earth do we stop it?
Well, I think you've raised a very good point there. The nature of these types of attacks, and assuming that they are committed by very small groups of people, sporadic, no pattern, makes it an extremely difficult task for police to combat. As I said, all we can ask, and I think one of our major planks must be, for those people who might perhaps have some quite proper sympathy, perhaps, with some of the legitimate aims of these protest groups, to re-examine their position and say, do we really wish to be associated with this type of attack which could kill people?
Given the difficulty you face in preventing this, which I'm sure everyone would accept, would you not accept the criticism that the police have had only limited success in actually detecting people once these crimes have been committed? They've managed to detect some of those who've attacked institutions, but as far as I know, they haven't yet nationally found one single person responsible for attack.
You know, some of the journalists that I've criticized for doing these sort of biased interviews with people like Keith Mann and, you know, whoever, Ronnie Lee, whoever. To be fair, they're actually doing their job of, you know, asking tough questions, having the person answer to them. Now, what this interviewer could do with this police officer, rather than doing this softball interview, he could have asked them, what do you say about the argument? Because he just said, let me back it up. Hang on.
On the committee, limited success. Everyone people. Given the difficulty you face in preventing this, which I'm sure everyone would accept, would you not accept the criticism that the police have had only limited success?
See, what he could have asked is, would you accept the criticism that the police have worked to protect the people killing the animals and have ignored calls to investigate animal cruelty? And, you know, he could have gone there, but, you know, that wouldn't fit the narrative. he is painting a picture after all. And that might be, you know, he's doing a little Bob Ross painting, and he's got the little tree here, and he's got the little lake here. And that might be like a building that's out of place. Might mess up his whole picture.
In actually detecting people once these crimes have been committed. They've managed to detect some of those who've attacked institutions, but as far as I know, they haven't yet nationally found one single person responsible for attacks on individuals. Isn't that a valid criticism and a worrying criticism of the police?
I think it's a criticism. The police welcome criticism. I think that we have to put it in perspective. The attacks on individuals is a fairly recent tactic. Prior to perhaps a year or so, they've concentrated mainly on property, as I think that your program tonight has brought out. When it comes to attacks on people, clearly these are serious crimes, and clearly they're going to be taken increasingly seriously by the police service, and particularly in Sussex. I can only say that the investigations that have been carried out are very thorough, that they are being treated in an extremely serious way. And now that we have reached this stage of attack, then the police will be putting perhaps much greater effort in than hitherto.
What level of threat to civilized society do you think they now in 1986 pose? A question I ask you because I'm aware that before coming to Sussex you served with the Special Branch and you worked considerably in the terrorist field. Some people, serious people we've talked to, have likened them to the Baader-Meinhof gang in its early days. Is that the category you'd put them in?
No, I certainly wouldn't. The Baader-Meinhof was always a very vicious, well-organized,
don't you see signs of that here?
Well-equipped group. And no, quite frankly, you've pointed out quite properly a problem that obviously we're going to face, but I do not see any similarity between the people that and the type of attack that we've seen this evening to the very sophisticated and far more murderous, if that's the right question, right word to use, type of attack that the Baader-Meinhof, right from their inception, when they decided to undertake terrorist attacks, undertook.
Sincerely hope that you're right, Mr. Westcott. Thank you very much.
Attacks.
He didn't play along. He didn't play along with this game that they were playing. I actually respect to this guy. He was like, no, you're actually fucking ridiculous. These people love animals and they want to stop harm to animals. He didn't explicitly say that, but he did kind of scoff at this notion. Hey, respect to you. I mean, you did a lot of bullshit in this interview, but, you know, at least you didn't play that game.
Sincerely hope that you're right, Mr. Westcott. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Well, that's all from Facing South this week. Next week, we'll be reporting on the government plans to have a fixed link across the channel and asking what effect it could have. We'll be reporting on the government plans to have a fixed link across the channel and asking what effect it could have across the whole of the South.
Some viewers.
I did not understand that. Here's that video. Check it out. There you go. All right. I got this one pulled up here. Abbey's Road, part 1. First part of an interview I did with Edward Abbey, in 1982 for the Phoenix PBS station. 1982. Edward Abbey is the author of a lot of books, but for our interests, I guess, especially, he wrote The Monkey Wrench Gang, which is was very influential to a lot of people back in the day, concerned with the environment. A lot of people cite him as being part of their formation, you know, inspiration. People like Rod Coronado have mentioned Edward Abbey. His books are extraordinary. I'm reading one of them now, and it it just harkens back to a different time when people were articulate, could write beautifully, and all that's gone. That's not to say that there aren't good writers anymore, but I think there won't be many more left in this day and age.
What is your role?
My role, I see myself as an entertainer. I'm trying to write good books, make people laugh, make them cry, provoke them, make them angry, make them think if possible, to get a reaction, give pleasure. I do not see myself as a social commentator because I don't look at any of these things we've been talking about hard enough. I'm not really skilled at it, but I like to write, I like to throw words around. And if I can give pleasure in that form, I feel I'm earning my pay. I have no desire to be a leader of any kind. I dislike being called a guru. Like every man should be his own guru, every woman her own gurette. We should all be leaders. I'm an anarchist. My father was a wobbly, IWW. We should all take charge. We should all be leaders, neither followers nor rulers. Make our own decisions. I'm really a Democrat, small d. I really believe in democracy, direct democracy. I think every issue of any importance should be decided by popular referendum. It's nice to see these petitions get on the ballot. The process should be made much easier. We could do away with a bunch of morons and moral dwarfs up in the state legislature and decide state policy by public referendum. I would love to see that. I think the majority of the people in this state and in this country are almost always far ahead of those who call themselves the authorities or presume to be our leaders. They're not leaders.
Correct.
When was the last leader we had in this country? Thomas Jefferson, perhaps. Anyway, my role is just to write books. I'm not really trying to do anything more than that. Write some good books, if possible, and enjoy my life and the lives of my family and friends and my enemies. I enjoy their problems too.
What do you see as being the major environmental problems in Arizona today?
Progress, development, growth, industry, everything that the politicians and the Chamber of Commerce loves, I'm against. I think it's gradually destroying Arizona. And I don't think it'll survive. I think we're using up our resource base, especially water, much faster than it can ever be replaced. And therefore, unless some sort of technological miracle saves us, I imagine that in a century or two, Phoenix and Tucson will be small towns again, and probably very nice places to live.
Arizona seems to be committed to coal and nuclear power. Is that without drawback?
Well, the disadvantages of coal are pretty obvious. The burning of coal pollutes the air. Strip mining destroys a lot of good rangeland, depriving ranchers and Navajos of their resource base. And coal, too, is just a temporary fix, even though we may have an awful lot of it in this country.
1982, Mary.
It, too, will be used up sooner or later. So if we want to if we want to create a long-term civilization here in the West or North America, I think eventually we're going to have to rely on renewable resources like sunlight and grass and trees, surface water, running water. But I realize that this is a utopian kind of thinking. Most people in Arizona or in the United States, for that matter, don't take it seriously. The people who run this country assume that technology and science will rescue us each time from our foolishness. And so far, it might appear that they've been right. Or if we burn up the planet, then we'll, I suppose, try to export the human species into outer space, space colonies, colonize the moon, Venus, Mars. That's what I would call real crackpot thinking, scientific utopianism. And uranium, you mentioned that, didn't you?
What up,
I guess
David?
if we complete the Palo Verde nuclear plant, we're going to have the biggest one in the world. Is that right?
That's what they say.
We're making jokes about lions, though, now. Actually, no, I'm serious. No, it's serious. It's a serious subject. Yeah. Lion stuff.
I find nuclear power very unappealing, first of all, because it's undemocratic. It centralizes control. It puts our lives and livelihoods in the hands of a very few people, and probably one big utility, one big public agency, over which the public has very little control. And of course, there's the well-known dangers of it. There's no guarantee that these nuclear plants won't break down and melt down and maybe force the evacuation of the entire city of Phoenix someday. That is a very expensive form of power. I don't know the economic details, but it may turn out to cost more than it's worth. It's simply in dollars. Nuclear power has been a heavily subsidized industry so far, subsidized by us taxpayers in one way or another. And that's how it's survived as long as it has. I doubt if nuclear power would last another 10 years if we had a truly free market economy. It's expensive, it's dangerous, it's undemocratic.
Something about these, like, these great writers, great thinkers. I know it could be like seen as a little bit pretentious, but the way they speak, like in a halted, sort of measured way, kind of draws me in. It's just like, what's he going to say next? I mean, I like the image. He reminds me of Hunter Thompson a little bit, and the cigar smoking and the kind of halted way of speaking. But I mean, you can read his books to see what a great mind he is. Yeah.
And uranium mining, of course, also destroys.
And by the way, when I say pretentious, it would be like if it were an intentional affectation, which I'm not saying it is. But for instance, if I did it, it would be pretentious because that's not how I talk. But if I tried to do that, if I started smoking a cigar, say someone wanted to interview me and I was just like, well, it was, 2018, and woman at the bar, and took my chances with her, walked up to her. It's just not how I talk. It's not how I talk. I was getting into my story, my vegan origin story. You all have heard it. Hit like and subscribe, guys. You come here for that expert commentary, right? For the insightfulness that I bring. I don't think you come for that. I don't think you come here for that. I don't know what you do come here for. That's on you. That's your problem. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. You figure that out. I don't know why you're here, but thank you for being here.
Rangeland again, in some cases wilderness. And the problem of what to do with the nuclear waste has still not been solved. Nobody wants these nuclear waste dumps in their own state.
What do you see the future of environmentalism being?
Well, I think it has a very good future. The worse the environment gets, the more popular environmentalism becomes. People like James Watt do us a lot of good to really spur interest in environmentalism and boost the membership in all sorts of conservation organizations. People always get concerned about things that they think they're in danger of losing. So it often comes too late. I think America has led the way in this field. We are probably the most environmentally conscious big industrial nation on earth. Getting the parks established a little over a century ago. First nation on earth to do that. Good thing we did, too. Well, I think it has a very good future. The worse the environment gets, the more popular environmentalism becomes.
Oh, hang on.
People like James Watt do us a lot of good. They environmentally conscious, big, getting the parks established a little over a century ago. First nation on earth to do that. Good thing we did, too. I'm not much.
Yeah, it's a good thing we created the parks. And it's a good thing we just kept electing people who are going to protect the parks. And it's a good thing. It's nice that we have steady leadership, you know, right now. Focused on the people. Focused on what matters. It's a good thing.
A prophet. I'm not much of a prophet. I suppose the conflict between conservation and development will grow more intense each year with the pressure of a growing population and economic demands. That's all I can see in the future. There's more conflict, more arguments, more shouting. Possibly, if the economy stays in a recession long enough, a majority of us will gradually adapt to a simpler, a more frugal way of life and not make such enormous demands on the land and the air and the water.
Yeah, maybe we'll go vegan.
But there's so many of us in the United States already, 240 million, I guess, and still growing. The rate of growth is supposed to be slowing down, but the total keeps growing. When I was a kid in school, we were taught that the population of the United States was 120 million, as if that were a fixed, permanent figure. And now, it's apparently just about doubled. And all of us want to maintain our American.
David, look at me. 29 people in this stream. Look at the beard. It's got to be the beard. It's the combination of my beard and his beard. Together we got We got Mad Beard. Mad Beard. You know, it might also be that other reason you said.
And standards of living. We like having these nice little houses and electricity, running water, cars and pickup trucks and motorboats. It's hard to give up all these technological toys. We wouldn't have to give them up, in fact, if we had a small population. I guess I'm sort of a nut on the subject of Planned Parenthood. I think we should plan it a lot more intensively. I'd be in favor of revising the income tax structures in such a way as to reward single people, childless couples, penalize.
We're doing the opposite.
Heavy breeders.
The exact opposite. For some reason, people like J.D. Vance, these weird fundamentalists, Elon Musk, want there to be more people. So 8 billion is just not enough. They want to take over more of the earth because clearly we're not way out of whack, way out of balance. No, they want to encourage and incentivize people to have more babies. Yeah. Can you imagine, like, years from now, how many people? Because only say like Elon Musk has had like at least a dozen kids, if not more. What a fucking fuck. What just a completely selfish, self-absorbed loser. And man, if this guy could have seen Elon Musk, it's like everything that he's talking about with yeah, we're just gonna fly to Mars and that'll solve the problem. Well, maybe let's stop causing the problems here before we go to another planet and start causing problems there. Thank God. I mean, a lot of these like pie in the sky ideas that we're going to go to another planet, it becomes real hard to maintain when you do just a bare minimum of reading about what it would actually be like on these places, like Mars, the moon. Dude, like, people won't go and live in Alaska. They won't live in Alaska. I almost took a job in the Aleutians one time up in Alaska. I was like in the running for a job in the Aleutians, like probably the last 3. This is back in my radio days. And I was someone who was like more prone to depression back in the day. And I remember my girlfriend at the time saying, if you took that job, you'd be dead within a year. Now, I would have thought it was a great adventure, not going to lie. I think I'd have gone up there. But because you get sunlight half the year, you get, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it's like. But yeah. People won't go to live in Alaska, is what I'm saying. But we're going to go colonize Mars and the moon and Venus. Sure.
People who have, say, more than 1 or 2 children pay extra taxes instead of less. Make that a national public policy. Encourage small families. And that means cutting off immigration too, or restricting it to a very low level. These are very delicate, touchy subjects, especially here in Arizona, and that's why I bring it up. I don't like to talk about it. It makes me sound like a racist and an elitist. But I talk about it because apparently no one else will. The politicians won't touch the subject, of course. The Chamber of Commerce doesn't care. They welcome a growing population because that means more demands for more goods, more intensive exploitation of the land and the water and the air, strip mining the ranges and clear cutting the forests and damming the last of our free-flowing rivers. But I think if we're going to have a decent future in this country, and I'm speaking only of the United States, the rest of the world is, most of it is in much worse shape than we are. If our children and grandchildren are going to have a decent life in this country, we're going to have to reduce the total population gradually by attrition, by letting old farts like me die off, by cutting off immigration, especially illegal immigration, and by gradually adapting to a simpler lifestyle, doing without more things, giving up a lot of our gadgets, or making them so expensive that you have to choose. You can have a car or a pickup truck, but not both.
But Edward, just don't take my microphone, okay? I need it for this purpose.
It's kind of ridiculous. Things like that. A gradual, I wouldn't call it a reducing of the standard of living, but a simplifying of our way of living. And I think it'd be good for us. It'd be good for us to do more walking, or to ride bicycles to work and to school instead of driving a car. These are old ideas, of course. People have been preaching them now for 10 or 15 years. I don't have any new ideas on the subject. I just repeat the old ones. I think there's great popular support for these basic ideas, great popular support for environmentalism. All the polls, all the elections seem to suggest that most of the voters want clean air. They want the clean air laws not only maintained, but strengthened. Most people seem to want our wilderness areas preserved. Most people apparently would prefer to live a more outdoorsy sort of life, to get away.
I wonder what he would think today.
From the big cities and even the suburbs now. Apparently more.
Probably just saw it coming.
More people are moving back to small towns or even to farms if they can manage it.
They're not.
So I think environmentalism has popular support, has majority support, but we don't have the money, we don't have the power to translate that popular support into political action, or at least not into enough political action. Power still lies in the hands of
I'm enjoying this. It's barely an interview. I think the guy's like asked like 2 questions. Yeah. It's more like just a talk. It's like a talk given.
Corporations, those with lots of money to throw around.
Some of your books speak of environmental sabotage. Is that a legitimate option?
Well, I'm not going to advocate sabotage publicly on the federal airwaves here. But I think there probably will be more of it if the conflict between conservation and development becomes more intense. And if the politicians fail to follow the popular will on the matter, I think a lot of people are going to become very angry, and they're going to resort to illegal methods to try to slow down the destruction of our natural resources, our wilderness, our forests, mountains, deserts. What that will lead to, I hate to think. If the conflict becomes violent and physical, then I'm pretty sure the environmentalists will mostly end up in prison or shot dead in their tracks. So I hope we can save what's left of Arizona and the United States by legal political means. And I still think we can. I still vote in elections, even when there doesn't seem to be much to vote for or against when there's not much choice. I think if enough people get sufficiently concerned, why we can still make changes, the needed changes in this country by political methods. God, I hope so.
What are some positive things that are happening today?
All the arts are thriving. Music, literature, dance, sculpture, painting. Seems to me that in this country and in,
hang on.
All the arts are thriving.
What are some positive
things? Sorry, I'm just I haven't paid too much attention to the chat. I apologize, guys. Just kind of scroll through and see if I missed anything. Well, have a nice day, Tessa.
Today.
Positive.
All the arts are thriving. Music, literature, dance, sculpture, painting. Seems to me that in this country and in most of the world there's a great burgeoning artistic activity. I think modern technology has created a sort of world culture, which may in some ways actually be bringing people together or creating an international culture. And that may turn out to be a good thing.
This was before I was born, guys. That's why he didn't mention, well, there's Jeremy. That's positive. This was before I was born. Okay, he didn't know.
Nuclear power has made war less appealing than ever. Hydrogen bomb takes all the fun out of war. I think there's an enormous amount of goodwill and good feeling being shared around the world. People visiting one another, visiting one another's countries and lands, and getting to learn something about each other.
Guys, I have a job for you. Are you guys ready? It's a big one. It's a big one. Okay. 3 steps. Hit like. Hit subscribe. Oh, you're not done yet. Hit that bell notification. It's a lot. Now, if you were going to prioritize those, if you only had one click in you, if you only got one click, click subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. Okay. I'm trying to build the channel and build this into something. Who knows what, but something. It'll be something. Okay. I don't know. Don't expect me to divulge my plans for world dominance. Don't expect me to share all my secrets.
But this is in a race against the other catastrophe of overpopulation, war, hunger, civil war, revolution.
Ooh, Felix did it.
Not that I'm against revolution.
There's 2 streams, guys. There's 2 streams as per usual. That's the thing now. There's one for your phone. There's one for your computer, depending on where you're at. Maybe you're like sometimes, I think like Felix, like riding the train sometimes. And then he's on his phone. And sometimes you're in your bedroom, on your bed. And we're not going to get into what you're doing there, but you're here. That's the important thing. You're here and you can watch landscape mode.
Yeah, them are necessary. Overpopulation, war, hunger, civil war, revolution. Not that I'm against revolutions. I think many of them are necessary and therefore justified. I'm not anti-technology either. I like all our gadgets and toys. It's just the scale of them, the quantity of them that I think is doing us harm. As I've written, I'm very much in favor of space.
I like my PlayStation 5. I love it. And guys, tonight, it's time. It's time. Alien Isolation. I think it's time. I still can't hear right out of my right ear, so just keep that in mind. But I feel like it's marginally better. It's not so jarring this time. So, and plus, I've already played through a good bit of the game. So I'm going to go back, start fresh, learn the buttons again, and memory should help. Because I eat lion's mane mushroom, guys. So my memory is very good, very strong. And my mental health is very good. I'm lucid. As you can tell from the fact that these rambling monologues of mine are not that frequent. I mean, they're frequent. They're annoying. They're pointless. They're wasting your time. But if I were suffering from mental anguish or something, mental, problems, we'll just go with problems, it would be worse. It would be a lot worse than this. So it only goes down from here, is what I'm saying.
Space exploration, for example. I think that's a great adventure for humanity.
And no, that's not an indication of my health. That's the edamame again, okay? It gets me every time. Because, look, I want you guys to see something. You guys probably think, like, I'm choking up, like, I'm about to cry. I'm so emotional. I'm not. Look, you eat these edamame things. One, some of them are spiciest because it's wasabi, okay? It's wasabi. Some of them are so hot that they make you cry, all right? Then you're teared up. Then, look, I want you to see this. Can you see this? They're like little fucking flakes on the outside that are, it's like almost like little skins, okay? And when you eat it, fucking little flakes are like getting in your throat and shit. I know I'm not doing a good job selling these. They're great, by the way. They're very cheap. They're like $2. $2 for this. Okay? $2. But them little flakes, they get in my throat and it makes me while I'm trying to share wisdom. And the great insights and knowledge that you come here for.
We can all share in it.
All right. I'm not even going to look at what you guys said because I bet some of it was negative about my long ass rant. I don't want to know. I
think it should be supported by voluntary contributions only, though.
Criticism.
Not by compulsory taxation under threat of prison and death.
Sorry, let me back up.
As I've written, I'm very much in favor of space exploration, for example. I think that's a great adventure for humanity, insofar as we can all share in it. I think it should be supported by voluntary contributions only, though, not by compulsory taxation under threat of prison and death. The Sierra Club gets by in voluntary contributions, and so should NASA and moonshots and space travel. Let those things be financed by people who are willing to support.
I got calls for mustaches. Mustache? Me? Go back to my early streams. Listen, guys, I do all this myself, by myself. I shave my head. I trim the beard. I try to keep it like decent, all by myself. Okay. And then sometimes it goes wrong. Sometimes I nick it in a spot and I'm like, well, it's all got to come off. No, you go back, you look at some of my early streams where the beard wasn't there. And I'm like, where's that chin? Where did my chin go? Very humiliating. Some of my great interviews too. Vegan Gains, To the Grave, frontman Dane Evans. I can't look at him. I can't see myself. I'm like, what the? I'll just listen. I'll listen to them if I want to go back. But, embarrassing. Fucking Jack Higgs, that beautiful man. Jack Higgs, that beautiful fucking man, sitting. Look, it's like this. There's a screen. You guys seen my interviews. One half of the screen shows the guest. The other half of the screen shows me. I might as well have blacked mine out. We had Jack Higgs. Fucking screw you, Jack. Out handsoming me. Screw you. Yeah, screw you, Jack, for being so lovely and giving with your time and gracious and articulate and handsome. Go fuck yourself, Jack. What a dick. The nerve of that guy. By the way, speaking of Jack Higgs, that was like such an impressive interview, I thought. He's just so measured and articulate. He's just great. Underrated, if that's even possible, because he gets a lot. He gets out there, but somehow still underrated.
Things. Trying to think of good things. Don't get good cigars.
But I mean, unforgivable what he did to me. And I know I played a role, but
I'm impressed by the young people that are growing up around us. They seem to be healthier and more athletic and brighter than ever. At least the ones who haven't been lobotomized by too much television and Newsweek and Time. I suppose for every danger in the contemporary world, you can find a corresponding avenue of hope, an opportunity for true progress, as opposed to mere quantitative growth. Probably never before in human history have so many been so keenly aware of what our troubles are and what causes them and what can be done about them. I think the knowledge and the goodwill is here, present in most people. Our problem is how to translate that knowledge and goodwill and technique into the creation of a true civilization, which I do not think we have. As Kurt Vonnegut says, we're still living in the dark ages. I agree with that. But we're still struggling to get out of the dark ages into some kind of enlightenment. I think that's possible. It still might happen before disaster solves all our problems for us. If we don't solve our troubles by reason and goodwill and generosity and mutual aid and sharing,
Who's on this level anymore? Who's an American writer like this guy, like Vonnegut, like the people he's talking about? I just think it's gone. That's not to say there aren't great writers, but who is it? I know there's some celebrated people. I really did like that writer. I'm blanking on his name. He wrote Lincoln in the Bardo. I thought that was really cool. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
And I think our troubles, national and international,
that was a while ago,
be solved in the usual way, by catastrophe, by war, famine, plague. And what was the fourth horseman? Death. And anyway, even if the human race wipes itself off the face of the earth,
Robert Greene,
as Jonathan Shell thinks it might in his book, I still think that life will survive, even in the, if only in the most rudimentary form. I'm in favor of all kinds of life, even bacteria, germs, bugs, insects, scorpions. I don't think that anything humanity can do will destroy all life on Earth. And as long as there's life in any shape, well, there's still hope of some kind. In fact, life is good in itself. And if we humans are stupid enough to destroy our own lives, that doesn't necessarily take all the goodness out of the lives of other creatures that might, and I hope will, survive us. I think Earth would still be a decent place if there were no humans on it at all. I don't know exactly what kind of consciousness a dog has, or the wildlife, or the birds we see out here, but my impression is that on the whole, they seem to enjoy their existence. And I think it's worthwhile for its own sake. They're not dreaming of heaven or some technological utopia. They just find the ordinary daily business of life, breeding and nest building and finding food, a good in itself. And I agree with them.
I do. I agree too. Not the breeding part, the act of breeding, but not the rest that goes along with that. The finding food, yes. Sometimes you've got, your wasabi edamame. Yeah. Nest building. I don't build nests, but I'm sure they're lovely.
I think the hawks are right, and the rattlesnakes. Keep going. Continuity. I don't have any hope of personal immortality, but I'm glad I've had children, and that therefore I have a stake in the continuity of human life. I think it's well worthwhile just keeping the game going, whether it leads to any greater end or not.
What does the future hold for you?
Oh, write a few more good books and die. I've done almost everything I ever wanted to do. Traveled over half the world. Enjoyed the love of some good women and the friendship of some good men. Had some adventures. Wrote a few books that I'm still pleased with. Had a pretty soft, easy life. Most of my life I've been able to do almost exactly what I wanted to do. I haven't had to turn my hand at honest labor for about 10 years. And I never did believe in working for more than 6 months out of a year at any job I didn't like. So I'll write a few more books, explore a few more places. I'd like to go to Australia again. I'd like to see something of Africa. I've got a teenage daughter Got to get her through the agonies of adolescence before I can shunt her off to college.
Gouret.
I'd like to grow wise and venerable, but I haven't figured out how to do it yet.
You did it. That was cool.
What are some...
Ah, you did it. You did it, Edward. All right, here's the link to that. That was very cool. Frankenstein. I saw the new Frankenstein. It's pretty good. I liked it. I liked it. Very stylish. I like that. I like that we've acknowledged and realized that there are no good ideas left in the world. Not just no more good ideas. And by that, I mean Hollywood has realized that they don't have any fucking ideas. They don't, guys. They don't have any idea. So just take the old films and remake them. Don't even try it. Just make good movies. Yeah, just do that. And just give up. If there's any message that I have to Hollywood, give up. Just give up.
Positive things that are happening today.
Oh, we're back on that. Alrighty. I've got this one here from, once again, our channel of the Archive of Animal Liberation Films on the net. That was something else, but we're just different channel. Late and Loud, Vivisection, 1995. Studio discussion on the subject of animal experimentation. Includes participation from Terry Hill, Jill Langley, Nancy Phipps. Let's check it out.
Angry demonstrations. Cruelty to animals. We simply can't bear the idea. Violent, angry demonstrations. Cruelty to animals. We simply can't bear the idea of animals suffering. And of course, we're right. There's no...
They are obsessed with the word violent. Violent, like, it's like a fetish for them. These are peaceful, largely peaceful demonstrations.
Argument if the animals are pets, even if the animals are on a farm. But what about medical experiments? Have humans the right to experiment on animals in order to protect ourselves from suffering?
So much of this old stuff is about vivisection. Just a ton of it.
Or illness or disability. Now, Louise, you have strong views about this. What is your view?
In 1986, August 1986, my son Daniel was born. He was premature, and it was apparent when he was born that he had a heart defect. In 1989, he died after having a heart attack. The cardiac problem that my son had is investigated through medical research. And my argument is, where I don't believe in cosmetic use for animals, I can't say I'm an animal lover, but no cruelty should be shown to animals. If you have the life of a child who is desperately ill and suffering, and you have the life of an animal who can aid and help the disease that my son had, there is no comparison to saving a life of a child and that of saving the life of an animal.
And
the child is an animal. That's the first thing. Second thing is you're a species as fuck. And shame on you for using your son's story to promote your species' agenda. That's ghoulish and disgusting. And your son isn't here to speak for himself. And who knows what he would have thought of that.
You believe it's only through experiments on animals that other children like your son will be saved from the tragedy that you and he suffered?
No, because he wasn't saved. And quick question, whatever the fuck her name was. Were they doing animal experiments at the time when your son was ill? I don't think so. I mean, sorry. Yes, they were. Sorry.
saved because the medical research hadn't gained enough knowledge in the disease that he had. But without...
Oh, didn't gain enough knowledge. Well, let's go ahead and torture about 1 million more mice and rats and monkeys and dogs and rabbits so that we can determine whether or not your one son, who, again, we don't have his point of view, would have said this. This is just pathetic. Like, but really, it's the media that's doing this, obviously. Like, I understand she's a grieving mother, but she has an agenda still. You can be grieving and still be doing something terrible. But it's on the media to be responsible to sniff this kind of stuff out.
The medical research, if I was to have a child in 2 or 3 years' time and they had gained nothing, without the opportunity and the insight, children like mine might as well be put down at birth because there is no hope. And people who stop the research, they are stopping the lives of children who are suffering.
So it's the lives of children as against the lives of animals. Sir?
I disagree, and I think Louise is simply going along with what she's always been told, that animal research is necessary. I belong to a group of people who have investigated the research into their own illnesses.
What illness do you have?
In my case, I was hit by a car, had a bad blow on the head, and I get depression, and I've got crippling osteoarthritis. And we've found that the money spent on animal experiments is simply a waste of time. We will get proper research if we abolish these experiments.
Look at her.
We will get proper research if we abolish.
God. Are you a cartoon character, lady? He's the one suffering. Again, we don't have her son's point of view, and maybe her son would have the exact same point of view. Yeah, I'm suffering. I don't want animals to suffer too on my behalf.
These experiments, we will get proper research which will find cures better.
Well, wait a minute.
And not waste time and destroy so many other lives for no reason.
Let me ask Professor Martin, because you're involved in medical research. Tell us what kind of research you do.
As a doctor, I look after young men and middle-aged men who die of heart attacks. And when I look at the heart of the man after death at post-mortem, I get no idea of what caused that heart attack. I can see certain cells are involved, but I don't know what happened to them. And I know from very good evidence from the American Army in Vietnam, for example, that young soldiers dying age 20 already have the seeds of the disease there. And if I'm going to prevent that heart attack occurring, I know that it's associated with smoking, with cholesterol, with lifestyle, but even when I decrease those in a population, as in Finland, still heart attack is the commonest cause of death in European population.
Do you perform
Wait. That's a weird thing to say. So you've acknowledged the reasons for the heart disease is the exploitation of the animals. You've acknowledged that. And now you've said, now when we reduce this in countries, it's still the number one. That's because you didn't eliminate it, you reduced it. Yeah, it's still the number one thing because you've only like who even reduced? Who the fuck reduced? Nobody reduced. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's associated with smoking to prevent that heart
Well,
attack.
smoking, sure. Yeah, smoking's been reduced.
I know that it's associated with smoking, with cholesterol, with lifestyle, but even when I decrease those in a population, as in Finland, still heart attack is the commonest cause of death in European population.
Do you perform experiments?
Yeah, and you've already pinpointed that one of the reasons why heart attacks are so prevalent is smoking, which, by the way, are tested on beagles and other animals, and cholesterol. Question, is there any cholesterol in a plant-based diet? No, there's not. Fucking idiot.
Can I just? Yes,
You do?
I do. Let me tell you exactly what I do. In order to find out what happens to the young man's arteries as they get older, causing heart attack, I expose rabbits, for example, or rats, to a high cholesterol diet, and I see what happens to their arteries over the same time course. Now, I've tried to use computers. I do that. I've tried to use cell culture. I've done epidemiology. But I can promise you that those animals tell me an awful lot about what happens to men.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, why didn't you solve the heart disease? Because, you know, by my calculation, looking at there's a little thing down here. It says 2026. Now, you've been testing on animals all this time. Is heart disease still the #1 cause of death? Oh, yeah, it is. Oh. So maybe you should have focused on telling your patients to stop fucking eating animals. Oh, but you already knew that. No. Don't tell them to stop eating animals. Let them eat animals. And then let's torture and murder all these other animals to make up for what your patients are doing to themselves. To themselves. But it would be nice if a doctor just told them what maybe they ought do.
Madam, I'm just coming up.
For their health.
Why haven't you got any further when you're killing so many animals and putting them to all this stress and strain? How is it you've got no further? And it's the same with cancer research. They've got no further. And they're torturing all these animals every year.
I object to saying that I torture animals. I do these experiments under...
Oh, let him answer it.
I do these experiments under very strict government regulations.
Dude, you got owned. You got owned by that lady. That lady was awesome. Let's hear it again.
Madam, I'm just coming up. Yes. Why haven't you got any further when you're killing so many animals and putting them to all this stress and strain? How is it you've got no further? And it's the same with cancer research. They've got no further.
Give them some time. I'm sure by 2026, they'll solve it.
And they're torturing all these animals every year.
I object to saying that I torture animals. I do these experiments under...
Oh, let him answer it.
I do these experiments under very strict government regulations with a Home Office inspector watching me.
Office visits these places once a year if you're lucky. And when they go there, you've got a case of like Professor Feldberg. He's incontinent. He can hardly see what he's doing. He was allowed to carry on experimenting at 80-odd years old.
Do you know when the inspectors are coming? Do they just...
No, I don't know. But I'd like to tell you where we made progress very rapidly last year and probably saved children's lives through animal experimentation. May I tell that?
Please, yes.
Please, go up by
We were
all
looking
means.
at the hearts of rats to see how a gas called nitric oxide might make them not function properly.
You had to kill the rats, presumably, in
Yes.
order to examine their hearts. And what lesson did you learn from it?
We learnt that the rat heart was like a human uterus because they're both...
We learned that the heart of a rat is like the uterus of a woman. Definitely.
muscles with a hole in the middle.
Did this mean that you could say...
Oh, muscles with a hole in... muscles with a hole in the middle, just like a uterus. Okay. And, okay, go on.
And this meant that the thoughts that gave us, the experimental evidence that gave us, allowed us to go to the obstetric unit in the same hospital and stop women having premature birth by stopping the uterus contract, just like we saw the rat heart stop contracting.
So you saved babies' lives that way.
We
Now,
saved
isn't
babies'
that worth
lives,
it?
yes.
You might have tried it out on rats, but ultimately you've got to try it out on people because
Of
what you
course.
God, he's getting fucking destroyed by these audience members. Are these just like regular folk who like are just sitting there in the audience and didn't know what the topic was? Or were they like people who have strong opinions about this already? Because this is an interesting take from these. I mean, I don't know how this is set up, but usually they have like just an audience.
Rats for
Of course.
So you could have just did it on the people instead of the rats first? Yeah, you fuck.
Obviously.
So why
It has to be tested on people eventually.
Absolutely, I agree
So
with you entirely.
why test on rats? It's irrelevant.
Because I could not have taken out human hearts and looked at the effect of the gas on the heart.
Why not?
The rat heart is very like the human heart, and I can learn very good lessons from it.
I don't accept that.
Right, hold on. Come.
You had to do it to people, correct? You had to do it to people. What are you talking about?
Yes, yes. Wait a minute, sir.
Yes, I'd like to say that vivisection is a complete fraud. It's based on a methodological error. There are people who are earning a very comfortable living out of vivisection. It is based on a fraud, or it constitutes a fraud, because you cannot extrapolate from an animal body to a human body. There are so many imponderables. All you need is one amino acid difference in a protein, and it will completely throw your experiment. And there are thousands of amino acid differences between animal species and the human being.
So
there is no guarantee.
So you didn't hear, you didn't listen to what the professor said?
I did listen. He has no guarantee that what he finds in a rat will be applicable to man. It is pure.
Highly likely.
That is not good enough. Likely is not science.
It is good enough. It is.
I've got a rare genetic.
That was a great. That guy forced him to admit that he had no certainty, that he was just guessing. He had likely. He surmised. He surmised, which that was a pretty masterfully done by that guy to get him to say that. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Central nervous system.
Hang on, guys. Big things just happened.
To defend medical research that uses animals, because that research is my.
We've seen that guy. This guy goes around. We've seen him on other shows. Hang on a sec. We've seen him on other shit. Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, hang on one sec. Got to pull up the thing. Takes a sec. Why does it take so long? Redwood Surfer. Thank you so much, Redwood Surfer. Tip $10. Thanks for what you do. Thank you for what you do, Redwood Surfer. And yeah, put a, sometimes it's not like the name that you guys use. So anyway, W Redwood, and appreciate you. And Spooky, since you're here, just making sure you heard me, that I thank you for your donation that I missed again. Twice now I've missed a donation from you. One time it was because I had my phone away. The other time I was just negligent and have no excuse. Or actually I do. The stream ended and I hadn't seen it. Anyway, but thank you, Spooky. Thank you, Redwood. Appreciate you. I appreciate what you do.
Only hope and rare genetic disorder of central nervous system. And I formed a patients group to defend medical research that uses animals, because that research is my only hope.
Notice how the guy who was in the car accident earlier said that this is a waste of time. And for some reason, he has calculated that his suffering doesn't mean that others should suffer. Now, I wonder why you didn't come to that conclusion, Andrew Blake. Maybe because it's all about you, right? It's all about you. And if I've got to hurt, then a pig or a dog or a guinea pig or whatever animal has to suffer so that they can extrapolate some surmises about what could be done about that. Then they're going to have to test it in humans, of course. And we could have skipped that step and just gone right to the people, right? Yeah, so in your case, Andrew, you got to wait for them to do the animal research first before you get the drug.
Without it, I'd just well be dead. And that's the sort of reply I get. It's a birthday card.
Sent to you?
On my birthday.
And it says, goodbye from all of us. The rat race won't be the same without you. Have a good funeral.
Yeah.
So is this from somebody who disapproves of your campaign?
Right, yes.
Yes?
I get many.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now, we don't have a way to prove that he didn't receive that letter. We also don't have proof that it's a legitimate letter, but sure.
Do you actually like animals?
I do.
This guy, this is back in the day, I'm sure before social media. He couldn't have hacked it with social media because I think, honestly, if you comment, let's say like someone did a hiking photo on Instagram and you were like, wow, cool photo. Somebody might drop a comment below your comment telling you to die. That social media.
Very much do. I've got pets of my own. What I would like to make clear is that no one supports cruelty. What we're talking about at the end of the day is people or animals.
Yes.
Now, Esther, there are some people in here, I dare say, who would rather save the life of a mouse than a man. That is perfectly fair enough. I have nothing to say to those people except good luck. But I am sorry. I think I am worth more than the mouse.
Why? Like, I could not legitimately ever say that about another being. I'm worth more than you. Why? For what reason? What am I doing that's so special? I mean, just by being human, we're pretty destructive. So let's say there was like a little ladybug walking across my desk here. I could not say to that ladybug, I'm more valuable than you. The ladybug's not hurting anybody. Go fuck yourself, Andrew Blake, using your fucking sob story to get fucking animal research continued, which, by the way, it's continuing, and it's continued through 2026 now. So how many animals should die for you, Andrew? Ghoul. A fucking ghoul.
What I'd like to say to all these people that
think we heard
it's so
from
easy
you.
to do research with their animals is simply that my disease is of the central nervous system, and you cannot grow the central nervous system in a test tube. So what would they use for a central nervous system?
Can you answer that?
It's whose problem is it? Is it the mouse's problem that you have that problem? That sounds like a you problem, dude. That's a you problem, not the mouse. That's not a mouse problem. That's not a guinea pig problem, a dog problem. That's a you problem. You do the test.
Sir, if you were going to research into a treatment that might help Andrew, who has this disease, Friedreich's ataxia, how would you research it?
Yes, everyone feels great sympathy for Andrew, of course, and we don't want...
We all have to say that, don't we? We all have to say we feel great sympathy. I don't. I feel no sympathy towards this fuck. He wants animals to die for him. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. No sympathy. You're a fucking ghoul.
To stop. But if you have a research method which is totally unreliable, you're not going to advance your cause or other sickening people's cause at all. The fact is that many people are sick because of drugs which have been tested on animals, declared safe, pushed onto the market.
Hummus with the
damaged.
super
It may well be that you are damaged, unfortunately, because of drugs taken by your parents.
Did I miss anything? Let me check. Let me scroll back. Oh shit. Kathy with a super sticker. Sorry, guys. I wasn't scrolling back. Oh, thank you, guys. Kathy. Hummus. Thank you, guys. You guys heal my heart. If my heart ever had a problem, no animal testing. I come to you. That heals me. That heals me.
One doesn't know.
I was not. I've never had a drug in my life.
I'm a GP for 30-odd years. And when I entered general practice, I remember Churchill's words when he said, give us the tools and we'll finish the job. I went into practice and I found I had about perhaps 20% of the tools I required to cope with the serious disease with which I was faced. I now have something like 70 to 75% of the tools I need. And I know jolly well that the tools are being given to me as a result of animal research and nothing but.
I want you now to meet Terry Hill, because Terry Hill, you've actually seen what goes on in some laboratories. Tell us what.
That comment made no fucking sense. He's saying, I got the tools now because of animal research. What he's actually saying is that he gets grant money. That's what he's saying. Translation, I get grant money to do animal research. Or if he's not an animal researcher himself, he's saying that, oh, all these tools that I have came through animal research. No one's denying that. The point is they shouldn't have. And that delayed you getting the tools that you needed, you dumb fucking fuck who can't think. Get fucking fucks with suits who can't think. Oh, man. You should lose your fucking job when you say shit like that. Like, you're a fucking doctor. Do no harm. The Hippocratic Oath. Fuck you.
What you discovered.
I did work in a laboratory for some months, mainly working in the primate laboratory.
Those are monkeys.
Monkeys, yes. Not chimpanzees,
No.
they're apes, but I work with small long-tailed macaques, crab-eating macaques. And I saw animals being experimented on. They would be laid down, fully conscious. They would be given an anticoagulant to stop the blood from clotting. They would have incisions made into them.
Without anaesthetic?
Without anaesthetic. On this particular experiment, the chap who was doing it didn't even have a license. The inspector came in, gave him a slap on the wrist, told him not to do it again. During this,
So he was inspected, and they did find that he'd been doing these illegal operations.
only after much of a fuss, and it was reported to the Home Office.
So what do you think? Yes, Professor.
I'd just like to comment on that. Cruelty to animals is inadmissible in any situation.
Then animal testing is out. Animal testing gone. Your words.
That cruelty to animals is inadmissible in any situation.
So you're vegan. Congratulations on your first day as a vegan and advocate against animal research. Congrats, Doc, or who the fuck you are.
And in this country, we have very strict rules, the strictest in the world, that govern animal
Rubbish,
experimentation.
total rubbish.
And if anybody finds anybody doing illegal experiments or cruel experiments, they should report them to the...
The legal experiments are cruel. Maybe you should start describing your experiments. Let's have him, the moderator, who's done a pretty nice job so far, should ask him to describe his experiments now. Let's hope she does it.
Home Office immediately.
Can I just go on? In this particular experiment, it's using 2 primates.
Yes.
After 3 hours, it was found that primate number 1, which first came into the laboratory, was acting suspiciously. It wasn't struggling as it normally would or screaming, and it laid voluntarily back on its back while the technicians held it down. And it was discovered after the vet came in. The vet told the people in the laboratory not to carry on with the experiment because you'd be asking for trouble to carry out this particular procedure, making incisions, giving anticoagulant at the same time. After 3 hours, it was discovered that this animal had so much blood in its abdomen cavity, it was hemorrhaging so much that it had to be destroyed. The company asked for that experiment to be repeated, using the same monkey which survived, but replacing the dead one with another monkey, but to carry on with the experiment. But what I would like to add is that I see no difference from a man without a license making incisions into a living, breathing, sentient animal such as this primate. and somebody being given a license to carry out the same abuse. I see no difference.
So can I just
it's
get
legalised torture.
So
it
you're
is.
saying if the monkey had been anaesthetised,
it hadn't been anaesthetised.
But what can we do to stop offences like that?
I can comment on the experiments I do and those of my colleagues.
Please do.
I know. I think that I'm not making money out of it, somebody suggested. I'm doing it to...
Oh, you're not making money. Oh, you're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart. Definitely, you don't get paid, right? It's not your job. No, it's your hobby. Animal testing is your hobby. Sorry. That changes everything. That's his hobby, guys. He does this for fun. Just for funsies.
Try and relieve human suffering. And I'm concerned about the suffering of the animals I work with as I'm concerned about the suffering of my patients.
Wait. Did you just admit that there is suffering in your animals? Because didn't you just say, do we need to go back? I don't think we need to go back. You said animal cruelty in any form. This was a strong statement from you, suit guy. Animal cruelty in any form is inadmissible or something shit like that. So proceed.
Hold on one moment. There's some people here who want to speak. Yes.
Wait, no. Let him speak.
Human suffering. To making money out of it, somebody suggested. I'm doing it to try and relieve human suffering. And I'm concerned about the suffering of the animals I work with as I'm concerned about the suffering of my patients.
Okay.
Hold on one moment. There's some people here who want to speak. Yes.
Yes, I mean, we hear all this pseudoscience all the time from the animal rights extremists, and it's really quite clear. I'll show you what keeps me alive. That's what keeps me alive, and that came from animal experiments. There are 10 million others like me. That's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, they tested it on animals because they test all the drugs on animals. That did not affect whether or not the thing works on you. Use your brain. Should we test your brain? Can we test this guy's brain? Anybody in this fucking audience that's saying dumb shit like this, can we test them? We need to test, guys. We got to test this. We need to get to the bottom of this. And the only way I think to do it, and I'm concerned about his suffering too, as I'm concerned about the suffering of the animals, I'm concerned about his suffering too. But the only way that we can really get to the bottom of this is to test his brain. That's it. Look, it's sad but true.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, that's a syringe I have to inject myself 4 or 5 times a day with synthetic insulin.
That sounds like a you problem. It doesn't sound like a mouse problem to me. I don't think the mouse needed to inject themselves. Right? Okay. That's you.
To stay alive.
Because you have diabetes.
Yes, that's right.
Can you tell us, does it really depend on animal experiments? Is that why you are alive, why you can use this?
I'm here to defend medical research. Some of that involves the use of animals. Some of it doesn't. But it's an essential part. There isn't another option. They can never come up with another option. The argument they always give is one of this vast amount of money that people are making out of it.
No, there's a lot of things that people say, not just about the money, which is true. That's why it happens.
I had a figure. It costs, let's say, 120 million pounds to develop a new drug. If you cut the use of animals and use a computer, it would slash that by 80%. So if the drug companies are so money greedy, why on earth aren't they using computer models? Because they don't work, that's why.
Right, let me ask you, yes, Madam.
I'd like to make a point. It's all very well saying that people make a lot of money. My little girl has cystic fibrosis. Most of the money for research into cystic fibrosis comes from charity, from people's pockets. And research is so vital. She will basically die if they don't find a cure. It is still an incurable disease. At the moment, she has to have over 80 medicine capsules saying that people make...
Right, let me ask you, yes, Madam.
I'd like to make a point. It's all very well saying that people make a lot of money. My little girl has cystic fibrosis. Most of the money for research
Cured?
into cystic fibrosis comes from charity, from people's pockets. And research is so vital. She will basically die if they don't find a cure. It is still an incurable disease. At the moment, she has to have over 80 medicine capsules a day. She has to have physiotherapy twice a day. She takes inhalers. That is not a normal life. Now, I believe, the same as Louise, that she deserves to have the chance for a normal life and to live the sort of life expectancy that everybody else has. And I don't think any...
Except the animals. Except the animals. Not everybody else. You're forgetting someone.
Whether however much...
Why is it the guy who had been in the accident, who can speak for himself, said, no, I don't want to make animals suffer for me. You would say that that's like a heroic stance. That's just a decent stance. That's just a basic common decency. Oh, yeah, let's hear from you, Palin. God, she looks like Sarah Palin. I swear to God. Like, yeah. Okay, Sarah. Tell us about Russia.
You love animals, and I love animals. I don't think you have the right to take away anybody's hope, and certainly a child's hope.
Right, tell me what you think, Laura.
Well, if it comes to staying alive or medical research, then I agree if it's happened.
How do you...
Ask her, do you want the little gerbil to die for you? Ask her that. Ask her that.
How do you feel about animals yourself?
Well, I used to have 2 hamsters myself, and we got 2.
Okay. So, okay, yeah. Go on. Continue, moderator.
2 dogs and 2 cats.
So you like animals a lot?
Yes.
But
when, when it comes to staying alive, there is only one hope.
And that's via these experiments and these
What about the hope for the hamster?
tests using them, yes.
You know, that it's kind of a low blow to force a child to make a statement like that. I mean, what is she gonna say? Like, she's there with her mom who's saying this stuff. Like, it would have been awesome if she said something like, really, like, no, I like animals, and she's a child. Like, now she has to like look back at this comment and be like, yeah, I was on the side of animal testing.
Yes.
I think something that's been missing from this debate so far is the fact that animal research is not the only hope for people. And a great deal of heart research, as Professor Martin was talking about, does not rely on rats and rabbits. My organization is funding heart disease research now. It's using human tissue. It's finding out about the human disease. It's studying the basis of atherosclerosis.
But isn't it a fact that in order to test the safety of drugs, you really have to test them on animals, don't you?
No. Why did you frame the question in that way? That's so weird. What the fuck, man?
From the point of view of developing alternatives to animal testing, I can't say we have all the alternatives. There's an ethical argument and there's a scientific argument.
So at the moment, there isn't a real medical alternative.
We can't substitute a cell culture for an animal test. But let's not forget that there is a lot of truth to what several people have said here, and that is that drugs tested on animals do not reliably work in humans. And I want to give you 2 examples of that. 22 drugs have been developed for spinal cord injury treatment on animal models, and none of them have worked in humans. And then 25 drugs have been tested for stroke, and none of those worked in humans either. And for too long, laboratory scientists have been happy to use animals as off-the-shelf commodities, as black boxes. You put something in one end and you get a result out the other end. If you understand the process of health and disease, you break it down into its mechanisms, and you can study those, not just in cell cultures, but in slices of human tissue. You can study them by computer modeling, and it does work. You can study the living...
Nobody wants to say it because they're all trying to be kind to the people there who have diseases. But what someone should say is what I've been saying. Is that their problem, or is that your problem? And so if it's your problem, you be the guinea pig. Not to mention this woman who said, my daughter's going to die. Well, your daughter has to wait for all these ineffective tests to get done on animals that don't produce anything relevant to humans. She has to wait for that process to happen. So I wonder, mother, if your daughter was about to die, hypothetically, and they had this drug and they didn't know whether or not it could work or not, but you know, it was between, let's test this on a bunch of fucking gerbils. Let's just say hamsters, since she had 2 hamsters. Let's test this on a bunch of hamsters. And we'll wait. You know, you got to wait. Just hang on as long as you can. Do you think that would be what she would choose? Or would she say, give me that fucking drug right now? I hate humanity so goddamn much. Goddamn much. Fuck humans.
Human volunteer, and that is increasingly being done with some
Ooh.
fantastic new
Ooh.
techniques.
I use all those techniques. I use human volunteers. I have a computer
So we don't
model.
need to go straight from cell
Yes, we do.
cultures
What
to
I'm saying is
humans.
animal research is not the only way, but it is a small but necessary part of the whole fight against
By computer modeling, and it does work. You can study the living human volunteer, and that is increasingly being done with some fantastic new techniques.
I use all those techniques. I use human volunteers.
I use human volunteers. So leave the animals alone, you dumbass.
I have a
So
computer
we don't
model.
need to go straight from cell
Yes, we do.
cultures
What
to
I'm saying is
humans.
animal research is not the only way, but it is a small but necessary part of the whole fight against human.
Guys, for all your Redwood Surfer, new member. Thank you, Redwood Surfer. Sorry, I missed that. Thank you, Redwood Surfer. Guys, if you didn't know, you can become a member of my great channel here. And anytime I go live, you know, for all your human hating rhetoric, you can also be a member, and then you can put the emojis, and that's what you should do. But you support my ability to continue to hate on humans. Imagine, guys, imagine if I didn't have this channel, right? And I just had all these feelings bottled up. Imagine if I had nowhere to scream this to. That would consume me. Who knows what would happen? I might just blow up, you know, from all that bottled, and it would be condensed and highly pressurized. And we know that's a bad recipe for things. We know that. Guys, if you're doing the I haven't pulled up the thing, what, you know, the sorry, Jake, the bits or whatever. I don't know what they're called. The little tiny, like, you'll say like 100 gifted or something like that. I can't see them. I don't mean to but on what I have up, I don't see the jewels. I can't see your jewels, Jake. Now, we could arrange, maybe we talk off stream, and then maybe I'll have a look at your jewels. But we'll talk about it, Jake. We'll talk about it. But I'd have to pull up my other streams to see that. So the bottom line is, thank you for sending them. If you guys have been sending them, I hope you all know, just like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, the bottom of my not destroyed heart from eating cholesterol my whole life. Thank you. I appreciate that. If I ever miss a thing, it's still a thank you moment. But you know what, guys? You know what, you could, if you when someone gifts something, just throw W's in the chat so I see it. W Jake, W everybody. Helps me see it. Because on StreamYard I can see comments, but I can't always see. I did see the membership and the super stickers though. They popped up.
Yes, Jeff.
I think it's quite interesting actually hearing one doctor contradicting another doctor.
Ringo Starr in the audience, guys. It's Ringo.
Scientist. Hearing.
Yes, Jeff.
I think it's quite interesting actually hearing one doctor contradicting another doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm an ordinary member of the public. I happen to be blind. I have a disease that has no animal model, retinitis pigmentosa. They don't understand the mechanism. I was registered as blind in 1975, and everybody will be amazed to learn.
Oh shit! Now I feel bad. Shit, like he's blind. And I was like commenting on his appearance, but it wasn't a negative comment.
Doctor, no sight researcher, no specialist has had the imagination to speak to me, to examine me, to ask me if I would care to be a free volunteer to help them with their work. Now, I think that's a wasted resource. Now, if you imagine that there are so many disabled people who disagree with your contributor, Andrew Blake, that we feel that animals are an unnecessary side street, and they actually confuse the issue.
How would you feel? How would you feel about research that was done into your condition but done on animals? Would you want that to happen?
I don't think it's good science. I really don't think it's going to benefit. They've been looking into my condition. My condition's existed possibly as long as people have, and they still don't understand the mechanism.
Well, we have got a doctor here who specialises in eye disease, as I understand it. Tell me, does your work involve experiments with animals?
Yes, not on this particular condition, but on different forms of blindness. I should say it's very generous of this gentleman to offer to volunteer, and it's very important that patients with disease should participate in experiments. Every possible form of treatment that we have available for every condition, I think it's fair to say, has involved at some point in its development the use of animals.
They keep making that point. We know. The debate is whether to continue doing that because we don't want to do that to animals. Nobody's saying it wasn't tested on animals because it's like at this point it was probably fucking required by law to be tested on animals. Another fucking empty suit. This guy bothered to do his hair too. He parted it, gave himself a nice little part.
The use of animals.
You've made like fucking empty suit got up and made the same point that we've heard like 3 fucking times in this very discussion.
Provided us with our fundamental understanding of how the body works, but it fits. But it must fit in relation to other approaches to the problem. The law requires that animals cannot be used where there is an alternative approach available. It would be illegal to do so. But animals.
And therein lies the issue. So then again, it's not about good science. Now it's about what the government did, right? Now it's about the government. The government said, we do this because the government is run on money. Just like that fucking doctor who denied it. He does the shit not because he cares about humans. He does it for his paycheck. That's why he makes a living that way. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't actually care about people. He probably does. He probably got into healthcare to do that. Problem is, he's got a blind spot. He's a speciesist bigot. You get it? He's trying to help his tribe and leaving out all the others. And not just leaving them out, but making them suffer for his bogus bullshit grant money.
Research, when it's essential, and the number of animals used in research is constantly declining, I'm very glad to say, But when it's essential, it
Oh,
takes
oh,
its
you're very
place.
glad to say. Yeah, you Research Defense Council, was it what it was called? Yeah, sure.
Amongst the spectrum of other approaches available to doctors and scientists
Now
to
you
approach the
say,
problem of disease.
you're glad to say the number of animals used in research is
Absolutely.
reducing, but you yourself do use them.
For some of my work, yes.
And what do you have to do to them?
I'm interested in how the visual parts of the brain work, and particularly how they develop in young children. I study young children. I also study young cats and young monkeys, because it would be...
Cats and monkeys. Wow. That's a bold thing to admit.
It would be the normal experimental procedure that's involved... Yes, I'm trying to, if you let me.
He is going to
Yeah,
tell us what he does.
continue,
Normal kind
continue.
of
What you do to
normal
cats.
experiment that involves animals, because not all of my work does, would involve anesthetizing the animal, previously untouched and unharmed in any way, anesthetizing the animal,
Wait. Untouched and unharmed, except caged. Okay. Go on.
nerve cells, untouched and unharmed in any way, anesthetizing the animal, recording from nerve cells in its brain while it's continuously anesthetized, and there's no way of doing that in a person or a child, in order to discover how the visual parts of the brain work.
You're really glossing over it. Can you go back over? You were specific about anesthetized. Yeah. So you were specific about that part. Now you say recording. I'm sorry. Doing what? Doing what? What do you do to the cat?
Untouched and unharmed in any way, anesthetizing the animal, recording from nerve cells in its brain while it's continuously anesthetized.
Okay. Doing what to the cat and why they need to be anesthetized? Anesthetized? Why do they need to be anesthetized? Why? Tell us what you do to the cats, you dumb fuck.
And there's no way of doing that in a person or a child, in order to discover how the visual parts of the brain work. At the end of such an experiment, the animal is killed without recovery, and sections are made of the brain to find out where the electrode has gone. Now, I'm very sorry that that involves the death of an animal, but I know...
Oh, you're sorry. Well, that makes it better. That makes it better. Let's see. Is there anything that I can do to the screen? We just left him up like that. This is, okay, just imagine this is the dick, right? This is the dick of the pharmaceutical industry right here. There's the balls. Okay, you got to use your imagination. Okay, there's the dick. The head is right in that area. Hasn't yet really penetrated. It's just right, just the tip. Just the tip. Okay, it's about that long. Balls there. Two balls. Two balls. There's the face, enjoying himself. All right. And now just move your computer back and forth to simulate the action.
I know that it doesn't involve, but I know that it doesn't involve the suffering of an animal. Now, there's an important debate here, and I'm very glad that the people are here discussing it, but that debate is not advanced by sending bombs to people, like the bomb that was sent to my home, for instance, that could have killed my children if it was opened. I'm sure I hope that we can all agree on that.
What else has happened to you as a result
Very
of your
likely
operation?
story.
The major progress is that in many parts
All these bombs that didn't go off.
This country and in the United States and France, there are now screening programs to look at young babies, not kittens or monkeys. The work has moved on from that to look at young babies to see whether the conditions are present early in life that we now know from the animal work will cause this condition.
Imagine being so shameless that you would appear like on television defending animal research. Man, if I ever stoop to that level, guys, or something similar, you call me out, you hold me accountable. Let me check the chat. Y'all have been like very generous, and I appreciate it. So, yeah. Okay, I don't see anything new, but yes.
So you believe you will save sight through these
Absolutely,
experiments?
and the kind of condition that I work on involves 3% of the population. It's 1 in 30 children who develop this form of partial blindness.
Well, let me ask, who thinks that it's still not worth it? Do you think it's still
The
not worth
blind
it?
guy would like to speak.
Bernard Shaw said.
The blind guy would like to speak about the guy talking about the kids that are blind. Talk to the blind.
That he who vivisects does not hesitate to lie about it. He sews up the eyelids of kittens. Did he say that? He didn't tell people that.
Thank you.
He actually takes tiny kittens and takes away their eyesight. I don't think that's justifiable. We're all animals. We all suffer pain. We all suffer fear. We all have the right to live. We have the power to experiment on something that's weaker than ourselves or something that we think is inferior, as they did in Nazi Germany. But we don't have
Fuck
the
yeah.
right. And there are
Bring it
other
up.
more dependable, other ways of medical research that do not depend on the torture of living creatures. That is immoral. That is not acceptable.
Now, quite clearly, it's this kind of very strong feeling that motivates some of the violent demonstrations in this country on
Here we go again with the violence.
behalf of the safety of animals. Nancy Phipps, more than 1,000 people went to the funeral of your daughter Jill in Coventry after she was crushed by the wheels of a lorry carrying veal
I thought she was going to go the other way. Thank you for pointing out that it's the activists getting killed, not the vivisectionists.
cars for export. You were actually there at that demonstration yourself when she died. Did she feel as strongly about medical experiments?
She did. She felt strongly about all cruelty to animals. As a family, we all care deeply. We've campaigned for 11 years, and Jill's death it's a sacrifice I wouldn't have given. But having said that, we are not going to stop fighting for the against the cruelty to animals. And if these places of where the vivisectors are, if they're so marvellous, why don't they open the doors and let us all see them?
Right, now Zach, you're Jill's brother. You demonstrate, don't you, against cruelty to animals. Do you use violent means?
Personally, no. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very non-violent kind of person. But can I say is that there are wider issues at stake here. I feel that as a society, we must not start justifying violence, whether it's to animals or people. We must say no to violence all the way down the line, whatever the reason behind it. That includes torturing animals. That includes the whole area.
Right, let's take you through that. That includes torture of animals. Does it include sending bombs to doctors?
I wouldn't dream of sending a bomb to a doctor personally.
Does that include calling doctors torturers like the Nazis?
Well, I think.
No, that doesn't include that. That's just accurate.
I think if they are torturers, then we should be able to speak the truthfully. For instance, Mr. Blake
yeah.
has been torturing
Good
animals
job,
for
dude.
20 years and
But
he still hasn't
back
done
down
anything.
from that
Would you
shit.
really equate him with a Nazi when he's explained
Yes.
to you that his purpose is to save the sight of babies?
Well, that's just talk, isn't it? He says that's to say talk. The truth is he's been on torturing animals 20 odd
Yeah, I
years.
mean, the Nazis, when they were testing on people, on the Jews, they obviously were doing that for a reason, was to come up with reasons to, with ways to cure humans. Wasn't that? Does it sound familiar? Does it sound familiar?
He still hasn't done anything, Esther. It's all just talk.
But he
Too
says
soon.
he has. He says he's discovered things
Too
which
soon.
may well save the sight of
May
babies.
well, but he hasn't. He hasn't saved the sight of babies. He's just destroyed thousands upon thousands of animals. He's well known.
Right,
Beautifully
hold on.
said. He hasn't saved.
This gentleman's had his hand up for ages.
I think what people should be aware of is since we have started testing drugs on animals, more people than ever before are dying. Human disease has actually gone up astronomically since we started testing drugs on animals.
Fuck
It's
yeah.
been calculated that animal-tested drugs are now killing the same number of people who are dying on the roads every year. Now, if animal research is so reliable, if animal research is so safe, how on earth can there have been so many animal disasters from these drugs?
Right, madam.
I'd like to say we haven't actually gone back to the issue of the animals, how they are treated when they are there. This doctor said he didn't once mention harming the kitten's eyelids without them being under anaesthetic.
I see you, Spooky. I see you, Spooky. I see you, Mary. I see you. I haven't kept up with the chat completely, but I see you.
He didn't say he tortures them, and I don't believe he does. There are many places that do, and I think there should be far greater restrictions on those and a lot more effort put into finding them out. I love animals, I love cats, but I'm sure any of these people who are saying we shouldn't do it, if they were faced with their own
They're literally in the audience right now, you dumbass. There's a blind guy right there, a guy who's in an accident. They're the ones saying don't test on animals, except for that one fuck who goes on all the news shows to give his sob story of why animals should die for him. I'm sorry that he's a fucking coward, but there's actual brave people in the audience right now, so go fuck yourself. Get a new haircut, lady.
child or mother. Any of these people who are
Get
saying
a
we
new haircut.
shouldn't do it, if they were faced with their own child or mother and the choice of their pet, they would give up their pet.
Oh, that's what she said. You're a
So
fucking
what we're
idiot,
really
lady.
saying is it's very important to make sure that the way these tests are conducted is within the law and doesn't cause suffering. Yes, sir.
Well, I think we have to bring it back into the real world, really. Like Colin Blakemore, I've just finished an investigation how an 8-year-old daughter has been threatened with death by people who I consider to abuse animals. She received a telephone call from an irate, it wasn't a scientist, it was an irate farmer, because I went around with a hidden camera and filmed animals being abused. And these animals were severely beaten across the face and head, and as a result, one of them has been prosecuted, and there's another few coming up for this prosecution. And he rang up my 8-year-old daughter and said that he would get me first, then her, and then my wife. Now, we all have that sort of thing, and we all condemn it. The scientists must clean their act together, because unlike what the professor says, please, there are problems in laboratories. Clearly, the law is inefficient. The enforcement of the law is the problem.
So you are arguing in favour of properly regulated testing.
Yes, but what we need to do is for the likes of Colin Blakemore and other people within the welfare organisations, the scientific community, to get together and make sure the laboratory is the place where we want to see research. If we grant the scientists the hope, who's going to deny the lady whose daughter has cystic fibrosis? Who's going to deny Andrew?
Me.
Who's going to deny these people? No one surely can. But there's an awful lot of animal
I can.
research we need to get rid of. And the only way to do it, I believe, is for us all to come together and discuss it properly, get rid of this rubbish research, and make these laboratories places that we all know what goes on within them.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, that was kind of wishy-washy, but whatever.
Thank you. I'm afraid that's all we have time for. I'd like to thank everyone here for sharing their views, very strongly held views, as you've heard, I'm sure.
Decent job, Maud. Decent job. You did all right. You did a decent job. Yeah, some questions that gave away your bias, but yeah.
There'll be great debates at home. Until next time.
You
from all
were
of
you
us
were
here,
trying to
goodbye.
portray them as devil's advocate type questions, but you kind of gave it away. That's all right. That's all right, lady. It's not all right, but you know what? This is a long time ago. I'm sure you're better now. I'm sure you've done a lot better since. There's that video. All right, guys. All right. Hope you guys had fun. I sure did. Alien Isolation tonight. Be there or be square. And then don't blame me when you wake up all squared out and you can't move because a square can't roll. Yet don't blame me when you're all a square. I warned you. Thanks for hanging, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who super chatted, did all that stuff. Thank you so much. Hit like, hit subscribe, more importantly. That's more important than like, guys. I will check out the post, Spooky, right after this, in fact. Or should I do it right now? Let's do it right now. What's the delay? I have to pull up my thing, though. Thank you, 40. I learned from the best. I learned from you, David. Hang on. I need to pull up my own stream to get to this. Hang on. 728. We got some subs. Thank you, guys. Somebody sub. Okay, let's see. Spooky. How do I channel? Go to channel. There we go. Spooky. Share this tab. I didn't even know Spooky had a channel. Let's fix that right there. 390. Damn. Good job. Is this gaming stuff? Where's the post? Where's the post? W Spooky. W Spooky. Spooky wins. Spooky wins the internet. All right. That was great to end on. Red Rocket, too. I guess everybody does have a channel, but they don't all post stuff to it. That's true. Got him. You got him. Spooky with the win. We don't even need to look at the numbers now. Wait, let me look here. Pretty accurate, pretty good sized. They got the hair. Yep, yep. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, guys. On that note, you guys come back soon if you're around to watch me be scared of an alien. Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? But just a warning, I'll have to be going through levels that I already did, so I might be fucking good at it. So don't. Yeah. All right. Good night, guys.